We're recording. Go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to open the meeting for the Bellingham Board of Health for 7 June 2022. Myself, Tim Forty, Chairman, Tricia Claire, Vice Chair, Mike Hennessy, Member, Rob Griffin, Tobacco and Food Agent, and Health Agent, Bruce Wilson. Minutes clerk, Florida. Okay, first order of business is the minutes from May 24th. Should have been reading.
Right.
No. I'm reading that because the next sentence says exception to none. Okay. Now, the board. The question was twice.
Maybe we want to take that out. This one's the-
Just change it. Obviously, you put it right, so.
So we put stuff in the minutes that's discussed, like, well below, so that, and put it on that update, so it's like school instructions.
Yeah, I think we do that. Thought about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because of the updates.
yeah. We leave that as that. I have a motion on minutes from May 24th. Yes, there's a few questions, a few changes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve our minutes for May 24th as amended.
All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, abstained, so carried. The
You
next
guys
business
hear me?
item.
I can't hear you well.
Yeah, get to speak up because she won't be able to hear.
Okay, Laura, the only, as amended, I can either give it my copy or I can just say that, yeah.
I'll just use your copy, so whatever changes you make, you can leave.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, thank you. Okay, so next item is 705, Act compliance for rapid refill discussion.
Oh, I got two. Trying to sign in here. Give me a second. Okay, everybody's in.
More, if the representative from Rapid Refill would like to chime in. So we did a compliance check on. This would be the third violation from the store. We have a 3-year period. So the previous violation for initial. Obviously, or a few weeks ago. So I know they requested the hearing, so they obviously come to you.
Because this would be, no, this would be, very much offense would be 30-day suspension and a 5,000. Just to let you know what happened on the third.
Ms. Jacobs, if you'd like to.
Yeah, before.
Get unmute yourself.
Oh, good evening. For the record, my name is Joseph Antonalis. I'm an attorney. My office is in Framingham, Massachusetts. I have a long-term relationship with the applicant, with the owner of the store. I did all the permitting on it, and I'm here tonight to offer some assistance to Rapid Refill in regard to this most recent violation. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. With me tonight is Megan Jacobs, who is the Director of Retail Operations for all of the stores, as well as Peter Garrett, who is the principal owner of the Rapid Refill chain, as well as the Garrett Family Markets. Peter is with us tonight also on Zoom. Again, thank you to the board for the opportunity. I've been made aware of the situation at the store in the end of May relative to the operation of a review that an individual came in and was not properly carded for the sale of tobacco products at the store. I want to just take the opportunity to let this board know that Rapid Refill and the Garrett family takes this situation very seriously in all of their stores. Every employee who comes to work at Rapid Refill is required to take a training course relative to the proper ways to identify people, excuse me, and in fact signs an employee agreement, which I believe Megan has provided the board. I hope that it got to you by way of, we sent it to you overnight. And in that employee agreement, you will note that individuals are subject to being terminated by way of failure to make proper requests for identifications. And in fact, Rapid Refill also engages the BARS program, which is a private organization that comes in on a monthly basis at multiple times to review procedures within the store. In this case, for for tobacco. They also do the same for stores that have alcohol. We do not at this store. And they test the employees on a regular basis, provide them with green cards or red cards if there's a failure to make a proper identification. And from an internal standpoint, to the extent that an employee does not make a proper identification request while BARS is in the store, they are cited with notice to the company, and in their employment agreement, they are informed that if they get 2 what are called red cards, which are failure to make proper requests and verification, that they are subject to termination. In the particular case that you have in front of you tonight, the employee was terminated as a result of the failure to request the proper identification. We are understanding that this is not a perfect system, and further understand, I hope the board does, that while we do a significant amount of effort to train our employees, that neither Megan nor Peter can be in the store all day long, and that sometimes employees simply make mistakes and slip up. And I don't believe that there were any circumstances in the store that day that would warrant the statement that there was an excuse for the improper behavior. That's simply not the case. We've reviewed the video and would not mean to insult the board to think that. Notwithstanding that, we're very concerned that a 30-day suspension would have a significant impact on the store. And we are requesting relief from that portion of the potential fine. We certainly are in agreement that the $5,000 fine will be paid forthwith. And I would suggest, in the spirit of education and cooperation, that to the extent that the board, in lieu of a fine, had a specific project or program for educating youths or other people in the community relative to the perils of tobacco and the need to refrain from tobacco use, that the Rapid Refill store would be certainly willing to cooperate with the board in promoting a program like that. So I hope I haven't taken up too much of your time. Both Megan and Peter are here to answer any specific questions relative to the operation of the facility that your board may have. But we are looking for some leniency on the suspension. It does have a significant impact on the store from an economic basis. So with that, I'll stop talking and provide the board with the opportunity to request any information that you might want. And we're here to certainly answer questions and to be cooperative in that nature. Thank you.
The mic is right here, so just be sure you aim your voice and use your big voice.
I mean, obviously, this is if they're in a 2-year period.
I do know that after there, and you can correct me if I'm mistaken, I know that after the second violation that you had installed or mandated the card readers on the registers, I believe that in this case, the employee had overridden it, if I'm not mistaken, and that is how they put the sale through. I know that was one of the things we were working on during COVID. We had a large number of sales, just whether it be from the master.
So the first 2 when we didn't have a card.
I believe so. And so this was, again, it was almost 2 years before there was another one. So it was working for a while. But as far as I know, and the guidance we got from the state is that we're not allowed to alter the penalties because they mandated that.
Excuse me, I'm still having a hard time hearing. I don't know if it's the audio there or mine. If you could just speak up a little. Thank you.
As far as I know, the board itself does not have any really way to reduce the fines. I know, of course, that's obviously not the answer, but
Which one?
well, so fines and suspensions is set by the state.
Okay. And that said, from my district report, this is pretty long, not relieved anything, except the first few years, it was like 95 to 2000, sometimes cut suspension. If they posted that they sold cigarettes to children, not minors, children. We had a couple of stores take us up on that because they said, we'll lose 30,000. Anyway, that's it. That's a long one.
But that's the state.
Yeah, and in the past, we've had quite a few markets in a few of the places. And I believe, no matter who they brought us, we just said the following years.
Well, that's the state.
It's a state.
So we have to follow that.
It just motion to endorse the penalties as set forth by the state.
Yeah, the motion. What's the penalties? You know, that's
All right, second that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried. Thank you. So next item of business. is-
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, Mr. Chair. I apologize. I don't believe that any of us could quite heard the motion. I apologize. I've got my sound up. I hope you can hear me well, but there was a lot of reverberation and it was very difficult to hear what you said. I apologize. If you could repeat the motion, let us know what happened.
So our tobacco agent informed us that the state penalties now, which basically were a little bit different than our town penalties, they're now set forth by the state. We can't alter the fine or the suspension period on these penalties going past whenever that law was enacted, the 21 law, which was 2020, I believe. So now the state regulates what's set up, and the local towns, tobacco agents enforce it, and the boards issue the suspension fines per state order. So there is, and like I said, if in the past we've never waived it on, we've always said that when it was our control, it's our rules, it's the 3 strikes, it's the maximum. And then if somebody got a 4th in a 3-year period, then it's an indefinite suspension. And who knows, if we have nobody that's crossed that threshold, so we don't know how long we would continue to do it. But that's hopefully doesn't happen, and we don't have to go there. That is and then the motion was made to enforce the penalties as set forth by the state.
It's my understanding that relative to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts regulations, the applicant does have a right to request a hearing relative to a suspension. And am I correct in presuming that this was our hearing in that regard?
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
yes, it is.
So it is, and like I said, we talked to our tobacco agent, and then the board said, making a decision to just continue our business as we normally do it in the case of tobacco and other fine type systems. We're keeping it in full force based on the first offense, second offense, the third offense. Each one carries a fine and a penalty with a suspension.
So again, I apologize, but I heard you a little bit better. So then the board's vote tonight is to impose a $5,000 fine and the 30-day suspension.
That's correct.
Yep, correct.
All right. Well, again, we're very disappointed with that, and I appreciate the opportunity to make the presentation to the board, and I do think there is some flexibility in the statute for the board, and but I also recognize that you have an obligation to enforce your regulations as you see fit. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so next update.
Can I just ask you a question? I'm just looking at the state law that says they relate to tobacco. The sale, and I'm just curious, if you have the specific legislation as it relates to that, because what I'm saying is the first one, but I want to know.
I think that's what happened. Once we got the 21 law in place, all of them, there was actually town violation and a state one. And then after 2020 and 2021, they merged and said, let's just use the state instead of, because we could have imposed.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking to see.
Correct.
The state law.
So we're now using, if you want to put it that way, the higher fines and the higher, and the suspensions were always 30 days.
Yeah. Okay.
For third sale, 14 days for second sale.
Yeah, no, I've never looked at it.
And unfortunately, if we did it once now,
No, I'm just.
Everybody
looking at
beforehand
section
says,
6, sale of provision for tobacco products to persons under 21 years of age. As using it says, no manufacturer or retailer shall distribute or sell to the person who violates the section shall be punished by a fine of $100 per step, 270. That may be obsolete.
So that
Does it go on?
that was replaced.
from 2020.
Oh, okay.
CMR, 105 CMR 665. So that's the act to modify tobacco where the state mandated the fine values.
Okay.
And what really spurred that problem during the pandemic, we were doing inspection, not as much. Well, let's say the number of people that understand, pandemic might have caused them to not even think about doing ID checks, because we're getting so many violations. It's unbelievable. So we mandated before this, they would get an ID reader. It will never, we specifically had 3 stores, but the employees were overriding. I know you, they override. And what we did know, we said, you will have an ID reader and you won't, how do I say it, obliterate it, because that's.
We do this, the select board does the same thing with alcohol. And actually new licenses, they require the ID readers, and they do rely upon the ABCC.
I mean, I go by alcohol and I'm hardly anywhere near 21. You know, I'm like 72, but they card you every time. They have to. They just don't want to lose their license. So, okay, Bruce, fix that up.
One's coming through, shut off.
Okay. Is it the 2 speakers?
It might have just been the way it was positioned. No,
Okay. Okay, so the next thing we had on our updates was well regs. The last meeting, I believe we said that we were going to amend things, and I forget where the amendment were going to be, what they were going to be. You supposed
It's
to.
in our minutes.
Okay, fine.
Right here.
So,
It's how we were gonna enforce
Okay.
concrete cover
Yes.
for the well to be filled in,
correct.
and that
So-
plywood would not be an option.
Okay, yeah, why would, or anyway,
No wood.
you'll
It's
see the
either
picture. later.
concrete cover or filled in.
Or filled in.
That's it.
Yeah. So.
But
we-
so it looks like Bruce gave us,
Right,
an email. It looks like he reached out to them about the cover.
correct. Yeah. Because he does have a picture, this is the picture of what we have now.
that doesn't look scary.
No, that some kid, you know, probably gonna wonder what's underneath it. You know? And it is in the forest there, so it's, you know, sort of partially covered, you know. I mean, they're pressure treated, but it's still, they can be moved. And yes, in the blocks over here, patio blocks here and here, but I don't know, if that can get moved.
This has just been going on since
Right,
April.
right, yes, and, you know,
I don't,
and I can tell you right now, you have upland ferns, you got a couple other things that might be, this is the wild invasive species, I forgot its name, but anyway, so it's in an upland situation, so we don't have to worry about someone saying, you gotta get conservation involved. This just needs to be, if you can't get the fill up there, sand or gravel with a truck, I would say you wheelbarrow it up. It's 5 feet deep and it's probably 4 foot square, 3 foot square. So it's a yard.
yeah,
6
concrete
wheelbarrows.
cover, they're like $50.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. The concrete
Can we
cover.
impose a time limit?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we
we
have
need-
to
we
at this
do need to
point.
do
This
this.
is just, I felt we're,
Because,
I don't want to keep talking about this.
you know, the board is concerned with fixing a temporary solution, but that was sent out to him on June 2nd. So it's already the 7th now.
All right, can we get
But
them
this started in April.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What I'm saying is, he's already had 5 days
Right.
other than the board happened back in May. So I think we say that within 7 days, you know, if you want to make a motion, 7 days, this needs to be permanently capped or sealed.
Yeah.
Permanently capped would be
motion-
either steel or concrete.
I had sent Norman a letter.
That's what we were just looking
We're
at.
just looking at that, yes.
Can we impose, if it's not done over the 7 days, can we impose a fine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have that in our regs? I don't think that's a fine in there,
I don't
but
know if it's in the reg.
I think we're gonna.
Is that the one in Silver Lake?
Yeah, 9 Silver Lake.
Right behind my house.
Oh, is it?
I've seen it up close and personal.
Oh,
But I grandson, do you guys have a copy of the
well,
letter?
that's
we
not
have-
good.
yeah, see-
That's what I'm afraid of. It's stuff
Yeah.
like that. And all he has is this little piece of wood covering
I
it.
think the best thing to do is fill it with
And
sand.
this has been going on
Okay,
since
but
April.
however he gets
Say
up
I
there,
wanted it covered.
use a wheelbarrow, just dump in the driveway, wheelbarrow up, fill it in.
We stumbled across, on cleanup day, we
Right,
stumbled
right, right.
across it. But maybe we can assist with a load of sand or something.
Okay.
Bruce and I can talk tomorrow.
Yeah, I talked to
Best
Stan
scenario.
Matthews and they said,
So it's,
Fill
don't
it.
worry about
it's,
conservation, just get
they're
it filled.
Yeah, there's no well
rebuilding the house.
that I
right?
can see right now. So, you know, if it is, it's not right around the well.
But it's
And
not a house.
You're not gonna get that sloppy
I
with
thought it was
a,
a house on the lot.
if you try to drive a dump truck up there, it doesn't
You're
look
not
like,
gonna get.
you're not gonna get there.
you know, per se.
and you know, we don't want someone driving the dump truck and all of a sudden finding a septic system right in, because normal
There's
septic.
no septic anywhere near this.
Okay, fine, okay. Fair enough. So, why don't we make a motion, and I don't know if we have, you know, we'll assume at this
So
point,
whoever owns it.
if it's
though,
not
the
completed in
concrete
7
covers are
days,
literally like-
then
Yeah,
we'll
I
vote
think
on
Dennis,
it.
I think Dennis has a
Roll
good
it
option.
and cover it.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that, see if we can.
Okay.
Because Ann said she doesn't mind if we fill
I
this
don't
in.
know, she said that,
I think that's what-
yeah.
Because it's not like it's somebody's house.
Right,
It's
it's an
a
abandoned.
new it's something that was probably put in 100 years ago.
So should we do-
years ago.
Now, the funny thing is,
Seven
code
days,
says
no,
25
7.
feet, that's
And I
good.
mean, he said his
But it doesn't
grandson
make a
found it,
difference.
like,
Phil,
that's what I'm
you want
afraid of,
someone to
right?
drop
Is
it.
a
Yeah,
kid
the
falling
kids
on it?
always know how to find those.
So
things.
motion to give the well at 9 Silver Lake Road 7 days to permanently cap it, or we use it to funds.
Yeah, filled or capped.
Filled with that.
Cap.
All right,
Okay.
I second that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay, great.
Let me see.
So, next item is the mail sign inspections.
I've got them complete, with the exception of Renaissance, where they just had a sale, the previous owner had a aneurysm and passed away, and they finally went through the probate and sold the unit. I spoke with the new owner this morning, sent them the information and set up an account. So
Is that on sewer or septic?
the next one,
The mail sign.
I'd have to look
Okay,
If it's just nails, it's fine.
Yeah,
yeah,
It's just,
yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
we
a
were
sewer.
also saying like if, we had certain businesses, I don't know if it was nail salons, but
here,
they were, yeah, hair salons, okay. If they weren't on septic, if they were grandfathered because they were there 50 years, but the minute they sold it, the grandfather is gone. They have to be on sewer or tight tank, no septic.
there's the hair salon because of the chemicals. and
Correct,
it
yes,
requires-
and potential for mercury, some of the
What does that say?
barbicides at
I'll
mercury.
read it. That, what is it, Cowie? Cowie?
Yeah, Cowie.
So they don't have an autoclave, but you wrote not applicable, and then what's the
They
word?
they
that-
have a second location, but they're using all disposable.
Oh,
So if there is something that requires the autoclave, they take it to the other location.
Okay, well, what's that word they use first, non-applicable, something?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a good-
Oh,
Yeah.
single use, is that what it's?
Yeah, single use.
Okay, so,
A lot of the places use the single use.
so can they use like,
I have to look, so this was a state, that's a state reg, so I have to look back to see if
allow that?
it's either one or the other,
Okay.
because
In
I
other
don't know,
words,
I
can
thought
you
they
use,
all
like,
had to have
Can you
autoclave, but
do
I
it
don't
with
know.
your nails?
I'll have to look
Can
back.
you use like a plastic thing and throw it up?
Yeah, but they're not gonna do that with all the cleaning, like cleaning
No.
under your nails and all
No, they
the,
can't. They
the
won't
metal
survive. Yeah.
tools.
Okay, fine, yeah, then they
Those
have to
aren't
be
gonna be
autoclaved.
thrown away.
No. But
That's one of
I don't know what Bruce meant, but well, when you said single use, I thought he was using something that's disposable.
Like
Yeah,
a
they're
filer could be single use,
Yeah.
but then there's all the other tools that they use to,
Correct. To debrade.
the clippers, that they
Yeah,
clip all the
yeah,
dead skin and everything.
Yeah, okay, okay.
So I have to look at that state.
And the other thing too is,
um,
the only thing with that, Bruce, if there is single use, but there is some metal tools that are being used, we'll have a hard time accounting if they take into another location to autoclave. Yeah. Who knows? You know, it'll only get found out when someone gets an infection and then they'll say,
Well,
well,
that's how we got here to begin with,
correct,
because
yes.
someone got an infection.
Right. We took it away from the state just so we get you some information. Because when we call the state on certain things, they say, oh, we haven't been there in 2 or 3 years. You don't have any problem. I said, yeah, we do. They were starting to pop up like weeds.
No.
You know, we had 2, 3 salons, and next thing you know, we had 8 or 10 or 12. So we decided that, you know, we're gonna take this away from the state. And by the way, they didn't object. Yeah, we said,
Bruce, I have a question under California nails.
okay.
Their venting system is not up
Yeah.
to snuff. So
But you put complies, and then you put.
they have venting, but it's not.
It's not a,
Okay,
They need to do more work to it to
Okay.
bring it into full compliance.
okay.
right, what we said
So
was
did
it had
they
to meet the ASHRAE standard. So the airflow going past the the volatile organic.
I gave them a
Carry it
copy
out
of the-
and not come into
the
the distillery.
regulations, Paul might be back.
Because when you move your hands around these things and solutions that have organic vapors, you create turbulence, and then the chemical vapor, instead of going out the hood, goes directly towards the, let's say, client or the operator, which, you know, is not good, because the operator is covered in OSHA laws, so, you know.
Cody uses.
So,
So we got a lot of single use
yeah.
on here.
It was just like a piece of plastic or something like that.
Yeah, they're using plastic or wooden tools.
Okay.
I've never been inside.
No, that's what I said.
Autoclave's not even that much money. They're like $3,000.
Okay.
So over time, I feel like they would save money because it just runs off of water.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just-
yeah.
It's like basically boiling.
You need a little bit of power.
That's what's seen.
Get it to 212 degrees and it'll create steam. And then some of the stuff.
Is it like the stuff that's in like Tattoo Studios?
Yeah. it's the
Yeah,
same
yeah, yeah,
thing,
yeah. That's how
Same
we
thing
got
with
the water
Texas,
clays.
A lot of them now are using the
Right.
single use.
Correct.
But
Yeah,
it's still just sterile water.
yeah, no, I think that's Blue Magic.
Yeah.
That's where I get.
So,
Oh, they pour in, soak them for Blue Magic?
Yeah, no, everything was probably no, so they had like the machines in the room, so like actually they got in.
Oh, yeah.
okay. In any event, the other thing too with monocle, when you get the, you put the tape on it, whatever,
Yeah.
it changes color. So someone
Yes.
bring a pack over.
Yeah.
Can say, hey, it wasn't sterilized. If there's not, if they've ever worked in a hospital or been around sterilization devices, you know, they'll recognize the tape didn't do any color. So, anyway, but it's also required up to state and federal law. You know, to have identifying things. So whoever the sterilization technician is.
Yeah.
And it's brought over to the medical side for use. The doc, the nurse, the tech can say, hey, this isn't sterile.
Yeah.
Shouldn't say that right in front of the person because they'd rather be getting right up right away, you know. You know, if you figure if it's that shoddy, you know. Anyway, but
Let's move on to the public.
so we have quite a few reports, I guess. Look at those later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
The public health nurse contract.
I got it right. That's right. And Laura's getting her Maven back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did see that earlier.
I'll get this eventually.
What was the number you guys were concerned, because this doesn't seem bad to me.
It's not bad at all.
Or-
What you guys said about last minute, like 11 or something like that.
It's all based on,
Right.
on the,
What's that?
on the
What
service.
I know,
Franklin
me
was
too.
getting
I was shocked.
greater amount of.
Oh, yeah, that's
service
good.
time.
So is it based off of the population? Is it like based off of population?
It's Vinny had a conversation with them and told them what they wanted.
But basically,
based
I
on
asked
the level of
for
work
was,
he was
since I brought it with me. I kind of wanted to get, and she said, clinics will go on for the town. No, I said about 50 people, employees, you know, will show up and get, and I said, if we could run that clinic. And I said, I have a real problem being former military side. We didn't pay for vaccine. We didn't pay for administration. It was mandated. You take it, you get it. I'm willing to say they pay for vaccine. We'll pay for it individually as, you know, or as a town group. That said, the administration, I tried to tell them, I'm hiring a nurse through a VNA. You're not charging me to administer a shot if you're already getting paid as part of your fee for administration. She said, no, we wouldn't do that. She said, but we don't even charge, we use this color program called Color. And Color is like a satellite thing that we just collect the information, like whether it was personal insurance, Medicare. I said, yeah, but
Color is,
I'm the devil's advocate. How do I know you're not charging me? I says, with the other nurses that we, you know, had in the past on a contract, we would see an administration fee tacked on to her hourly rate. And I'm going, no, we're not doing that, you know. And she said, no, we won't be doing that. So I said, okay, great. And she said, I said, we'll get you the information, but when we do our flu clinic, whatever it is.
just for clarification, PrepMod was the original software that we used to check people in and check out with the thing. And about halfway through, they changed it to Color.
Okay.
So it's.
What is color?
It's just the name of the program.
Okay.
they can set up an appointment, they check them in and check them out on
Fine.
site, so that it's not like having to enter in through MIS afterwards.
Okay,
Like when we first started, we would do the clinics,
right.
collect the people's names on a spreadsheet, and then have to go back and enter it in and send it off to MIS
Fine,
now.
fine.
So that it's all done, live, through that particular program. And
And she
color
said-
just happens to be the name of the program that they're using now.
And she said we would do like other things like clinics, if there's like a whole bunch of people that need to, how do I say it, get their shot for something, but it's already, how do I say it, prescribed by the doc. And
Well, their doctor will prescribe it.
Correct.
That's the
but what
big
I'm saying
thing.
is, if you had somebody at the senior center that said, hey, I gotta take this regularly, they forget, but someone at the senior center will say, hey, listen, you're due for this. If the nurse is there, she'll do that. It's just part of the nursing contract. So I like that. And diabetes clinics, blood pressure clinics, they will do. She says, we don't have really too many people asking for diabetes. I went up, I says, there's a slew
just
of them at
good
the
to
senior
have.
center.
Good to
And I
have.
said, when they asked, we said we would do that. And I said, and then all I really need is, I said, I need this. It's a great contract. I said, I need a price, so the board and I can make a decision. And
I think it looks good though.
and I think it's great. Yeah, I can tell you that's almost $5,000 less than the 1995 contract, which we, 99 contract, which we threw out and went competitive and then got nursing. Actually, we went to VNA out of Woonsocket for, I don't know, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So
and theirs never exceeded 9, so this is really good.
Yeah, it's good price.
I just have a question on the, all these boosters going on. It says the immunizations other than the annual seasonal and influenza will be, private pay. So if we're doing those booster shots, I don't see anything in the contracts saying that they're gonna provide boosters.
Okay. Let's see.
Where was the?
Okay, so say that again, you're saying that.
So I
It
did,
says private pay basis.
yeah, for anything other than the seasonal influenza clinics. And it says they're gonna have, nursing wellness clinics 8 hours a month,
Correct.
but I don't see anything for COVID booster clinics.
Then it said,
I did
I
ask.
think they're
about
gonna combine
COVID.
it in the flu anyway,
Correct.
Okay.
yeah. And
to
she
be
said-
honest. but
Yeah, but we can't assume.
We know we can't. but-
Correct, yeah, that's a good point. I did ask her about COVID because I said, there's supposedly now people over 65 and anybody over 50 with COVID-related morbidities has to get another booster now because they're saying the boosters aren't working.
Right.
You're saying the boosted lifespan is.
Well, if it
What I'm
comes,
saying is they haven't even said.
if it
boosters
comes
are
out, that
available,
the
right?
kids need, booster shot 5 to go back to school.
Correct, yeah, I see what you're saying.
And we need to make sure that we as a community can provide that for them.
Correct.
But we weren't providing those shots through Esther.
No.
No,
But Bruce
So
was
this
doing
would-
the clinics.
Yeah, this was, right. We
The
were
clinic
State was-
outside of
And
that.
then we started going to the mobile clinics.
Right,
Correct,
but just
and
worst
even
case
doing
scenario, if
that,
it
it's still
happens.
way under what we've been paying,
Okay.
so.
yeah. So do we want to have them amend that or do we want to say like,
It's up to you.
we'll do the $8,000 plus if we have to do something different?
I mean,
Well, it says on
if you
that.
stick with the mobile clinic, there's no fee.
Correct. So we could say COVID boosters would be through a mobile clinic,
What
because
do you have budgeted now?
I think we're, I don't
I
know.
think it's 30,
Yeah, so
Or-
if you had 8.
right, if
you-
even
you
if we
have- you have
doubled
a
it, we're
nice
still,
cushion if you
We
need
do,
to
yeah,
have
okay.
additional service.
Yeah.
Did you get a per hour price from them, what they would charge? I know they indicated, I mean.
I didn't, but what they're saying is,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to equate that
Yeah.
to what you're saying, Dennis, is
Yeah.
for the whole year's contract at 8,000, they're gonna do 8 hours. I want 8 to 10, but they said 8, okay. 8 a month, what's that? 100 hours. So 100 into 8 is $8 an
No, I
hour.
meant for the additional hours, but I
Oh,
can
for
tell you,
additional.
our workers' comp health agent,
Right,
the health nurse that we
Right,
have come
right.
in
right,
and work 4 hours a week.
Right.
52, so it's like 200 hours.
Right.
it costs us more for that than what you're
Okay.
paying.
Oh,
here. So
really?
I- Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's.
So I was thinking
very
maybe the nurses
reasonable.
were 50.
No.
Oh, we were paying Esther about
And it
55.
says, I mean, it says that they'll negotiate an additional fee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Services.
For the extra additional hours, but.
Yeah, I think that's fair, you know, like even if you boosted 8 hours to 10, if 8 hours is worth 8,000, 10 is worth 2,000 more. It's easy math.
Had to do what we were doing before anyway, running our own clinics, it would still be saving a ton of money.
Yeah.
Getting another nurse like we had with Esther.
Right.
Excellent.
Yeah, I know.
Like Esther and Sarah were great.
Yeah.
The lady we had, Trish Parent from Upton was the control town, and we were town number 5. So we weren't getting treated too fairly, you know.
Well, because there was too many, she was taking on too many towns. All right, so want to make a motion to,
Oh, okay.
so I'd like to make a motion that we accept the agreement with the VNA.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstaining, so carried. Perfect.
The nice thing too is, you know, that you've got a deep bench with the DNA.
That's what she said. She said, we will be able to provide a nurse. And by the
They
way,
go in-house and stuff too.
we
which
did
is
bring up
nice.
things like, you know,
So-
occasionally we get TB cases. I believe we have one now.
We have one now.
She says, we'll follow that up. She says, we'll get it right from the hospital, so you won't have to go to the Board of Health, then to us. She says, we'll get informed right off the bat. And I did ask her for, you know, the younger women of childbearing age. She says, as long as the hospital's part of the nursing thing, like Milford and Woonsocket, if a Bellingham resident goes there for birth, they always provide a wellness check,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, they set that all up. So,
Yeah, I think
I
so.
had said-
One of the
So,
keys will be.
because it's in there, and I said, you know, when you gonna do that? I said, we always do it. It's a VNA, we call like supplement that's part of their package, so,
no,
Did you go over
Esther
to
will be
look into their
happy.
office?
no,
No,
I
just talked to her on the phone?
just talked to her on the phone.
Okay.
I think making sure that we communicate with Josie that those hours are available. We make sure
Correct,
we-
yes, yeah, we
Because I
do
know
need
that
to
was
let
the
her know
rub you
that.
had previously, you were guaranteed so many hours and you felt you weren't getting. them.
Right.
Exactly.
I think we
Yes,
need to
yeah.
make sure we get our hours.
Yeah, I did try to say that, without, as Trish had said, well, don't put it to the point where you're gonna be doing a weekly timesheet. I just said, no, but we do
You
want.
said 8 a month, so,
count-
I mean, the contract's.
Correct, we want at least accountability.
Yeah.
What you've done, and she can pass that off the nurse to Josie, and then Josie can get it to us.
Because there's a need up there.
Right.
There will be, if the seniors know there's gonna be a nurse, they'll come.
They
Yeah,
love
they
it.
will. Yeah, yeah.
They look forward to it.
Because when Sarah started, it's pretty amazing, like, we had to boost the hours a little, and she had a hard time because she had a full-time job in Kingston, Rhode Island. But anyway, that said,
That's
it
great.
worked out well for her. And then we lost Sarah, and then, you know, then whatever. But certainly Esther's been a great asset to the
Yeah, she
board.
has, absolutely. But you'll be happy to
and-
know
and
that
COVID,
we have.
At least, didn't,
now.
you know, we were wondering whether COVID was gonna just wipe her out and say, forget, I'm done with this. But good news, she didn't do that. So she's dedicated to the cause.
Yep, she
Okay.
is.
Okay, next item is a new business item. It's 17 Bellstone water discharge. I think it was on the 25th of May. I got notified by someone else on the Bellstone Drive that Robin, I had a problem with the neighbor, I believe 19. 19, yes. But anyway, what happened was initially it was like, you know, who do I go? You know, she had asked somebody else, who do I go to? And the person said, well, yeah, the Board of Health can help with this. You know, if we can get it more than, like, it's a discharge of water, because that would either be zoning a building. But once the water was confined to like a gully, where now it's a mosquito pool, you know, clearly disease prevention is one of our key elements. Anyway, so I went out to the site and visited it, and clearly the ground has increased 3 feet, you know, all the way around there. There's 3 red maples that are dead because we choked them out. So they're not gonna send water up anymore, they're dead. So the water now goes into this bed of earth into, I think, a dry well, but then there's crushed stone all the way around. So it comes out of that area and goes out down the side of it. Plus there's a 6-inch steel pipe sticking out about 6 feet from somewhere, it might be that cistern you put there. And that goes right to a gully between the 2 properties. And with normal water that breeds mosquitoes in 7 days, if it's clear, if it's not dirty, it has a less likelihood of producing the disease causing mosquitoes. It does produce the annoying, biting, dirty needles with wings, but all they do is upset people, annoy people. When you have like a gravid pool area, that's debris, leaves, branches, and rotting stuff. The mosquitoes that come out of there, let's say it's 1 in 1,000, in a clear water will be disease causing. It's more like 10 well, 1 in 100. So it's a 10-fold reduction. So, there'll be regular mosquitoes in there that just produce bites and, get blood from you. Anyway, they're donating, you're a donor for blood so they can breed their young. That's what they do. The female's the only one that bites, by the way. The male's like this big. It just floats around, does nothing. Anyway, that said, this is clearly a site where water can accumulate. Now, the last couple of weeks or days, it is dry, but it's going to rain tomorrow and the next day. And all it needs to stay is not even full of water, it just needs to stay saturated in the soil. And in 7 days, we'll have the potential for a disease causing mosquito in that area. So that said,
What is the water coming from?
it's coming from a sump pump, I guess, from his property.
Well, can I speak?
Go, go. Your floor.
He has a sump pump. The sump pump comes out from a pipe.
Right.
And it wasn't piped anywhere.
Okay.
As you can see, it's coming out from the house.
Oh, okay. That
It's
is-
right down to our land.
Okay.
That was backing up to the backyard. He was only cleared this far. Our yard is cleared more. So he's got all woods in here.
Right.
We have a catch basin here on the corner of our property, pipe behind our pool out to the street. He decided to clear more, so he cleared about 15, 20 feet more. That made, with the wetlands, that brought the water around. That was 2 years ago. Last year, he dug a big hole, he put rocks in it. He piped this pipe that was coming out from the sump pump is now piped to the backyard into that. And then Vinny has a
Yeah. and
picture
then
of the pipe
The
that's
pipe
coming
that's
out.
coming out is,
And it's right at our lot line.
yeah, where is that?
So now I have my filter
Yeah,
that's
it's
in
a big steel
six inches
pipe.
of water. And my backyard, side yard by the pool was just flooded in 6 inches. So my husband had to build that up at least 6 inches. I put a stone wall hoping to catch the water and make it go down the side of the land.
I'm
but
missing
it
that
didn't.
one picture of the pipe.
This one?
Oh, yeah, there it is. So that
Get
is-
involved in civil issues like that, because that is a civil issue.
Well, it is a
Discharging
simple issue.
water from your property
Correct.
to
And
somebody
that's
else.
basically, she has a problem with, like, what
Well, then
happened a
he-
year
then he
ago.
cleared.
He destroyed her pool filter. or
No, I know,
something.
that's what I'm saying, it's a civil
But
issue.
that's,
something-
I would have, first when I went out there, I said, it's probably just gonna be a civil issue,
Yeah.
If I saw nothing, like, that water couldn't accumulate. And then the only other thing I would have did is, because I am a professional and to do it, be unethical, to not say, clearly, Ann needs to get this. So after tonight's meeting, Bruce, contact Ann in the morning, share the pictures. She needs to do a site walk. He clearly filled in at least, I'll be a generous guy, the 25-foot no disturb zone, he's in it. I'm gonna say he's probably, I didn't want to trespass on his property, but he's probably in the wetland as well as the 25. So clearly conservation can make him remove everything and replicate everything if they want. I don't know what they're gonna do, but that's not our bag. But it is our bag to say, unless he can take this pipe and put it subterranean into more gravel, so that there's no water, then Board of Health has no issue. So what I was gonna propose as a, someone's gonna make the motion is that this pipe that's leading to a gully that is sort of trapped until it gets up about 6 inches. Then, like she said, it runs down along to a storm drain on Bellstone. But that said, right now, it's an ugly pipe. And I think it's coming from that cistern where he's pumping his originally big white pipe. There was a sump pump into that. So he's recharging that thing. And then it probably goes up a little bit and then goes right out.
Well, he piped it last year
Right.
back to there.
Right.
And then the first freeze that we had,
Yeah.
it wasn't working. It filled up and it had nowhere to go.
Correct.
So we had to put that pipe back out there. So now I get that pipe again coming down.
So it's coming onto your property.
It's right to our property
Yeah.
line, right on up.
Yeah.
So it goes straight down. No one else in our neighborhood has replaced their septic. I'm on my third septic system.
That's where you hire a lawyer and you take action against it. It's certainly. a
How do you
civil matter.
prove it though?
Well,
That the burden of proof would be on you.
well, yeah, what happens is the first thing the board of health would look at in that aspect, if records are called, is we look at the water use records.
Right.
And she's been there for a long time, so it's not like
We
somebody,
built our house there. We've been there since the beginning.
it's not like somebody used $25,000 next year to use $125,000. We won't have that, so whatever water use is very consistent.
I
And
just don't
if she
think it's
doesn't have
legal
garbage,
to
you know,
pipe it onto someone's property.
It is, but like you said, or Dennis said, it is probably more civil matter. However, what I'm saying is creating a pool of water that can have, you know, it's a gravid pool, there's no doubt about it. I know the characteristics of that. The preponderance of the numbers that would generate disease causing Tripoli, West Nile, and there's a few others. But those can come from those mosquitoes if they're in that situation, not clear water, but dirty water, gravid. The breeding zone is what they call it. So, and
We're not just talking a little puddle. I stepped in it. I was,
Right,
I was up to here.
So-
Suggest
what I'm saying
someone
is-
was doing that to my property, I'd
Right.
have a lawyer and I'd go to court.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely, I would too.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is the Board of Health can help because it's a mosquito, what we call breeding ground.
Yeah.
And it's not a clean mosquito breeding ground, it's a dirty. So that said, we can force the issue that he needs to remove that pipe. And he needs, and you know, I think it's more his side. He needs to fill that thing in, so no water coming down unless it's a natural flow of things. But he's already changed the course of everything now. If he's diverted all that wetland water to accumulate in the back and send it around, so we have natural water.
You're changing the groundwater characteristics by elevating the
Well, yeah.
groundwater, which is impacting the septic.
That's probably a
Well,
problem.
it goes down the front and then it pools in my front yard.
Right.
And that's where my septic system is.
Right.
So we can't mow the grass until the end of May because it's just flooded.
So that's a very likelihood. He did inflate the background higher by almost 2.5 feet at least. It's big.
It's a great neighbor.
Yeah,
But it's also what do you call it, coming from his house, the sump pump.
the sump pump, yeah.
I recorded it as every minute and 50 seconds that it's going off with at least a gallon of water. And you can see it when you have the pipe down
Yeah.
there. You could see it come down and then it's got nowhere to go. So my husband had to dig a trench down.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're talking every minute and 50 seconds.
Now, the other thing we could do is contact the town, DPW, see if they'll let them, as long as
My
the
neighbor
sump pump,
tried.
they may let them go and put it into that. I don't know. You know, we'll have to get somebody that's got a license, like a water install license. Like
Well, there is a catch basin at the end of
Okay.
the,
what I'm saying,
that's where it's piped to right now. Well, that's where
we
it's.
could resolve this problem by piping it all the way down and putting, as long as the town's aware it's not gray water, it's not, you know, other
Have to be a
things.
curtain drain with a perforated pipe
Yeah.
in
yeah.
a bed of stone.
Well, that's the other thing too, on the side there that he owns, which is pretty much grassy after you get by the boulders. He could just tunnel that pipe in, maybe a better pipe than that big one, something a little smaller diameter, down in, fill it with crushed stone. And
That's
then
what I'm saying. Curtain.
the grass will grow over the crushed stone, but the crushed stone will allow it to dissipate. No mosquitoes should form in that area because now,
No, it's underground.
yeah, it's under.
But this water goes to wetlands? Into
The
the
water,
wetlands?
no, what happened was he diverted it to the front and then he put it in the back.
Right.
But then in here, there's a big
It
big
builds up and then
cistern here.
flows overland.
And then
to
he
the
filled
street.
the entire backyard 2.5 feet, and there's stone all the way around it. So this used to be a wetland or a buffer zone. It was gully. Now it's higher than the neighbors. You know, it's not the next neighbor is uphill. So he's only affecting her momentarily. The neighbor beyond her, number 15, probably doesn't get it because
Oh,
she's getting it
yeah,
all.
his,
He does, okay, but.
His pool sides are collapsing in. We
Okay,
just spent
so-
15,000.
So, you know, what I'm saying is, the guy on the high end is, by filling the low area in his backyard, is now diverting all the water that comes down from rainfall, plus sump pump,
Mhm.
which is caused by the rainfall. Your pump works harder. If it's in a drought, you probably don't pump much water. So now he's diverted all the way over here. So
So it's a conservation issue.
it's a conservation for sure, but
Has he
I'm
been out there?
gonna say,
I haven't been out there, but I
Yeah.
know the
But
soils
I
up
mean,
there.
Ian hasn't been out.
No, the soils are the compact
Right.
till, So they don't accept, percolate the water very quickly.
So we should
So
have her.
my only thing was to get some relief and sort of immediately that he will, either cease and desist with this water flow into an area where it's pooling, or he will eliminate the pool so that mosquitoes can't develop, because that's the only health part we have. It's disease causing,
Well,
potential disease causing,
I would,
and then
Give it to Ann.
conservation.
and
and
we
then-
should definitely get a lawyer. For sure, you and your neighbor, I would totally,
Every single one in town wants stuff.
I know, but I mean,
Okay.
They're not
these
happy with
septics,
them.
that's not normal to go through and.
No, I agree with that totally.
Your pool's
It may be-
ruined and everything, I mean, that's a
maybe-
lot of money, I would,
A series of
definitely hire a
curtain
lawyer.
drains down lot lines and collect it.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. See, in the back, I'm not sure if it's wetland, you can't drain it. That's one of the things, provision of Wetland Protection Act is you can't put drains in. And even
There's a
drain-
trench all the way back
There is,
that goes
okay.
all the way down and then every like third.
Now, does
house,
that go to
it's all
detention
piped.
basin? Is there another detention basin?
There's
In the back?
across the street from us, behind them is one,
Okay,
and then at the very beginning of the street is
Right,
another.
right, okay, fine. Okay, so the beginning of the street one won't help, but the one at the end behind them might help. But again, you can't go in there. If it's a wetland without filing a notice of intent. And as long as he's not draining the wetland, but he's taking water away from his property, they should allow that. But he's gotta, he's gotta have it flagged, so he's gotta hire someone to flag it. He's gotta have it surveyed, he's gotta have a notice of intent.
He just had it
developed.
surveyed.
Okay,
I still have the.
well,
stakes in
when I
the
say
ground.
survey, once you put the flags in, the survey company picks up all the flags, then the biologist or the survey company, if they want to do that, can present it to conservation. Then they give you an order of conditions and they monitor it.
What's
that
street address?
17 Bellstone.
We were gonna do a DPW, I can have Jesse get out there and take a look at
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
As well as Bruce and I can talk to Ann
Fine.
and see if there isn't something that they're suggesting.
Right.
We had a similar problem like on Pheasant Hill.
Yeah.
Fox Run, too.
There.
Fox Run.
Yeah, so
Okay.
maybe this.
I know
at least
Frank
we can-
Cartier called the DPW.
Yeah.
Couldn't do anything.
I was gonna ask you for the transport.
monkey.
He's
Is
not
next
happy.
to, next to Frank.
Yeah. Yes, Mike was 3 seasons.
Oh,
ago.
Mike is down or higher?
Mike was down.
No, Mike is down.
Kelly's all the way down in the corner, she has nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I know. that's
She's
right.
got some retention.
Well,
Yeah, so at a minimum, we can start with that if you want. Certainly enforcement with the regards to mosquitoes. or
yeah,
whatever
I mean,
else.
put it this way, as a temporary, this, if we ordered this thing be filled or the pipe removed from that area, it won't ponding, it won't do that. And we're outside the wetland area where this pipe is, it's right at the edge of his old property before he scalped the rest of the earth. And by the way, there are a few trees, there's one here, there's 2 others. They're totally dead, so they can't transpire water. So the tree would be useful. If he had put a nice gully around it, they call
I had to mute some.
it. You know,
Somebody doing the naked dance. Just left the last.
Oh my gosh.
we get out to them. So what happens is, if these trees would have had a nice big collar around them so the roots wouldn't get destroyed, at least they'd be transpiring some water, not enough for some, but it would be.
I think your conversation was exciting.
Yeah.
All right, so we're just gonna
I think we should.
have Ann
Yeah, but
take a
you don't
look
think we
at
should make
it.
a motion saying we should immediately, how do I say it, remove this pipe, prevent water from accumulating to prevent disease causing mosquitoes from developing there.
Tricia, I'm thinking that'll certainly get their attention and then we can follow up as
Yeah.
well. But
And
To
Bruce
have
can,
them fill it in
yeah,
and remove the pipe.
well, if you sent a letter just
correct,
saying,
yeah, saying you need to remove this pipe, you need to stop putting water in this gully. You can do whatever you want with that gully to root.
yeah,
One thing Bruce can suggest is, well, if you fill it in and put the pipe
Yeah.
into the stone and hopefully let it percolate
Yeah.
through, it may not.
and he may
All
come
right,
back
so-
and say, you've got no right to do that, yada, 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 but
Well,
at least it gets his
yeah.
attention and we
Yeah.
can start a process.
The other way.
So we're gonna send a
Sure.
letter then, and
Yeah,
then, but I think Ann should know anyway.
Oh, yeah, and
Oh, absolutely, that's what I'm saying, I
Yeah.
want to get with Ann.
I didn't-
With Jesse.
I didn't
Riddell
go
and
see Ann
see if
before the
something-
meetings. I said, I want the Board of Health to take care of the mosquito issue, and then Ann can take care of the rest of it.
Right, maybe there is something as you're suggesting. We don't typically allow people to tie into catch basins. but
Correct.
If it's a.
I know there was
problem,
one
we
other
can-
property we did, I think it was Fox Run and Pheasant, and then there was another one on I believe it was Blackstone Street, you know,
So
anyway.
we'll
So
definitely
we've
take
done
a
a
look.
few of those before, but you know, also Don or Chris or Jesse always want to know.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure that pipe is not gonna have any chance of like an oil tank in the basement ruptures, pumps it right out. So, you know, we usually say like, okay, let's see what they've got for infrastructure, you know, and no washing machines. Or
All right,
some
so
pumps
that's the
that are
plan,
connected. Okay.
a letter,
Yeah,
and
so
then
you want to make a
talking to
motion to
Ann.
do that and then.
Yep, so I'd like to make a motion that we send a letter to 12 Bellstone Drive.
Yeah.
19.
I mean,
19,
seven-
19.
Oh, 19, I have 17 on it. 19 Bellstone Drive, asking to remove the pipe and fill in.
That
the-
gully, so
gully
prevent
area.
mosquitoes from forming in there.
Yeah.
Okay, second. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay.
We'll follow that.
And then
Thank you, I
24
appreciate
Rondo
it.
Road. What the heck?
I'm running out of options.
That's where the child was running around for days.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
When I went over and responded.
Bruce
with
got that
the
back.
officer that,
and it's interesting too, because the person died.
No,
No?
she's still alive.
Oh,
She
okay,
lives in Millis.
but the house is abandoned.
She's still maintaining the lawn. The house must have got a leak or something, but it's loaded with mold and the ceiling is
Okay.
falling and it's in big disrepair.
So that's
So I
definitely-
posted it as non-habitable.
Right.
The officer did speak to her and I spoke with the officer this morning. And that she wants to do is file a permit with the building department to go in and renovate. I don't think she understands what she's got.
Right.
Coming ahead to salvage it, but, right now, you know, it's posted, so it's not habitable.
Is the roof leaking too? Or no?
Yeah.
It is, okay.
The roof is leaking, the ceiling was falling.
Okay. So
The floor,
that's gonna be an expensive job.
it's, somebody's gone in and ravaged. and-
So the kid was actually found in the garage, right?
Yes.
The house, okay. Or unattached, whatever.
But he had been staying there a few days.
Because Tony Curry caught him on the camera running by like 3 days before. You know, police had posted call 911. So Tony caught him running by, it's 5:45 in the morning, like just a t-shirt, running by, and then he went right by Walgreens. And that's as far as Tony can see. So he called the PD, say, I saw the kid. He's running up Mechanic Street. But you know, they couldn't find him. And then 3 days later, you know, Bruce said that, you know, they found him.
All right, so what do we have to do with that? Anything?
Well, no,
Basically,
just-
it's posted as not habitable. She can come and apply for a permit to renovate. And, you know, once the permit's done, then we have the avenue to inspect before they can put a tenant or something.
yeah, what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
if there was somebody there or somebody was, let's say, squatting there, we would have to condemn it. So there's an order, so the police department can then use the order to go beyond trespassing, which is a $200 fine or whatever it is. Once you have a Board of Health order, if you violate that order, it's usually, it gets to be like the higher class misdemeanor or a low class felony. Plus it carries a $5,000 fine for violating a Board of Health order. You know, so in any event, we didn't do that, and at this point,
Well, that,
there's no need to do it, I guess.
I mean,
But whatever.
it's posted as non-habitable, which would allow the police to, you know, come and remove anybody.
Yes, yes, but what I'm saying is, it's just simply, it'll be the trespassing, if they damage the
Correct.
property, break it in, you'd be breaking, entering, trespassing. The break and entry would be a felony, but trespassing would not be, it'll be a fine. The question is, when we had 21 Rentham Road, we were condemning that for the purpose of, if the kid came back, it's, you know, instead of the police, well, he had to be sent to the hospital because he broke all the windows, got cut up. But anyway, that's it. If he came back, now he's violating the Board of Health order. Now he can get to go to jail. You know, so the other way, trespassing, they don't arrest you. It's like a speeding ticket. You get a ticket, you show up
Just,
to court.
speaking of 21 top day, all of the windows and doors
Right,
have been
right,
secured.
right.
They replaced the subfloor and the basement level that was in disrepair.
Yeah.
And there's actually probably a sale that's gonna happen, and somebody will come in and go through and literally probably get to the side and start
Okay.
again.
But that said, too, the other thing too is, if he's gonna put anybody in there, we needed to make sure, because there was significant flooding when the kid turned all the faucets on. That the floor, which was rotted, which didn't occur from this kid, was a condition before, because the cement with wood over it was all rotted. Tiles were all gone. But now, if someone fixes everything and it's still moist below there, it's not a vapor barrier, you're gonna get black mold. And that's nasty. That can come out, you can't see it if it's buried.
Well, I
But it'll
guess
get
that'll be-
airborne.
That's gonna
So,
have to be up to whoever
Yeah,
builds
so
it.
I told Bruce that, yes, the owner can go in, but he
It's
cannot
it's
rent
hard
it.
to have permits and have it
Right,
inspected.
you
by the
can't
village.
go in there, to occupy it. Selling, that's fine. I mean, people will walk through it, but
Yeah.
they need to make sure that the final step on that is that there's no black mold. You
Yeah.
put a new floor over
I had
something
a
else.
lengthy conversation with the projecting buyer, so I mean, he knows what he's gotta do.
Okay, so that's that, okay.
All right, so now we're gonna talk
Okay.
about the properties.
Yeah, distressed property, yes. Okay.
Which is like the talk of the town.
Yes, this is a hotbed, yeah, okay, fine. So I have early photos and then I have the current photos, which I sort of right after town meeting. I don't know, someone must have heard me, whatever. Guy came pull a building permit for one property.
It's actually pulled permits for all three of them.
Good, okay. That was my first comment. We're gonna insist he pulled all three. But he bought it up nicely. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than this crap that we had before. Things that we had before. And clearly, when I was at the planning board meeting for another article, clearly the residents here, including some of the board members, the planning board voted, I think 4-1 or 4-1 abstention against not approving this article for town meeting. And it got shot down 208 to 206. He needed a 2/3 majority. So he lost 100 votes, 102 to be exact. Anyway, but people don't want to be extorted. And I'm just saying, I'll just say it because I go by there a lot. I dropped the ball. This should have been on my radar. Year one. It's been like this for 2.5 years, and we could have just simply, it's a nuisance. And, it could be considered public safety, public health, because if somebody breaks in there and gets injured, the house is not dilapidated where you fall through the floor. But if somebody died in there, we'd have, what we call, a whole bunch of trouble in terms of like what it could cause. And the other thing too is, I don't know if an animal that goes in here and dies, and then you get rats. We now have, Bruce will bring that up. We have some serious problems in the town where rats are being observed. And it's not businesses, it's in areas. Could be someone coming from the Charles River, because rats just love that place. But whatever.
We've got a lot of development going on and what's happening. is
Right.
they're having
They're
that-
running
As
out
you
of
develop,
places to live.
they're in the woods sometimes, and there's dead animals, they feed them. But, as you develop, you push the animals out of their domains. So
So he
Anyway,
pulled permits.
he did pull
What's
permits,
he
so,
gonna, what's the plan?
Well, his plans to renovate and
right.
I don't know whether to flip them or rent them or.
So he's gonna,
Yeah.
he's gonna work on
He's gonna
the
renovate each of
existing
the. each of the
properties.
Yep.
Because I think you can keep coming back and the town residents that live around there, I had said,
I wish he'd buy
Some-
Sunoco.
Yeah,
yeah.
That would be great.
I think Tim
He
would like
bought
that too.
Sunoco and
But-
made it into the gas station like
Right,
it has a Mendon. That would
But
be
the other
nice.
thing too is,
We were thinking the south end of town across from where Laura lives there, the old market would be a good place for him too.
yeah,
Oh, market.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of small though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So it wouldn't be big enough for what he wants to do.
yeah. But in any sense, you got away with it, you probably shouldn't have, but whatever. Call it negligent, disrepair or deliberate. That's what was presented by residents, and there were quite a few, it was like 60 of them. And there was like, what do you call it? And the planning board members said, well, it's sort of like, if you want something, you have to make it so that people will say, I'll do anything. In other words, call it extorting a vote to make this look better. And people don't want it. I know when they probably built Rawson Road and people, remember Gagnon built Shop Drive, that was supposed to be a cemetery. We won't go there. But anyway, that said, all these people built in there and they always said it's suburban And across the street, did we rezone Home Depot suburban to commercial? I don't know if we did.
It's industrial.
It's industrial, okay. Well, clearly that was industrial. These people all built there, but across the street didn't bother, you know? And then his comment that people are making left turns to get into that. There's occasionally a stupid person tries to make a left turn in Dunkin' Donuts where it says, no, you know, do not enter. But it's rare that I see people going to Speedy or to Sunoco because it's the rush hour. The first thing you don't want to try to do is go where there's thousands of cars coming. The lights can't even change fast enough. It's all the way down to Market Basket and all the way past to Depot Street with the traffic bumper to bumper
So-
going in and out.
So
So,
what, we had these on the agenda
Right.
for,
Well,
to just talk about.
yeah,
The permits being pulled and.
Originally I
and
had them on the
start
agenda
working
saying-
on 'em.
we're gonna talk as a board to see if we can use several of our laws and have a public hearing. So I was gonna say, we're gonna inform all the public that's affected that there's a public hearing going on there. And then I was going to initially say condemn them because they were in pretty bad shape. But the roofs may not be leaking, so I have to have a reason to condemn them. And they're not inhabited by somebody, because then I could condemn them saying it violates the minimum housing. But if you're not using as a house, it can't violate minimum housing. So
They're
the
being
second thing,
renovated now, right?
well, they're gonna be. So the second thing was, and we
So
might
we
wanna
don't-
make, you know, like an issue, like this needs to be renovated within 180 days or something like that, you know, it's going 2.5 years.
Well,
but-
they already pulled the permit. so
Correct,
we
but
just
the other
kinda-
thought was, is if he hadn't done anything like pull permits, then I was gonna say, forget condemning him, we're just gonna say it's a nuisance. And any public
But you don't
nuisance,
have to now.
we don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay, so we're
So
not
we
gonna have
can
a
move on.
public hearing, done,
So we can move
Okay.
on from
we can
that.
move on, okay. That was it,
I'm excited to see what he does, though.
yeah, I mean, you know, put it this way, yeah, I thought
Sure, the
maybe
neighbors
the
will be
town would
happy.
work out with him and say, listen, the road's gonna be moved back 10 feet in 5 years. or
Well, they
more.
said that, but they
Why don't you just let him
weren't
build
interested.
3 condos, place of 3 houses, link them together, have the exit, the entrance and exit off of that shop.
Cedar Hill, that was my proposal.
Right,
You
right.
must have been listening. to
Yeah,
this.
I was like, I heard that already.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, if they did that,
Yeah.
the residents would love it, you know, and you could put also in.
Actually, no, I was just kidding. I'm sure that he didn't hear me say that,
No,
but I did.
I didn't,
suggest that.
you know,
Yeah,
in any
It
event,
makes too much sense.
right, the other
Put
thing too is,
condos in front, the driveway behind it,
like,
and then you don't have any access to that after
and
that.
then the other thing too is,
Yeah.
like the Rawson Road house, that corner one.
Great
you put a
minds think
fence.
alike.
Yeah, that's right, you could have put a fence the whole way, a nice white fence,
Yeah,
so, you know, the town would look at a fence,
I agree.
you
That
know,
was what I thought.
you know,
Yeah.
and then your kids won't run the road, you know, that's the other thing too. You worry about kids running in the road. So, you know, none of these houses, I guess, had kids because, can you imagine your kids being 20 feet from a major road?
At
Yeah,
least they
I
got a
know,
nice white
that's,
sidewalk. Yeah.
Yeah, there is, but you know, what I'm saying is, but anyway, okay, so no public hearing, we're done with this.
okay,
Got it.
good, let's move on. from
Okay.
that.
So,
So the next thing
All right, so
is. this-
the grant funds,
yeah, grant funds, yeah.
I worked closely with Dennis and Mary, as soon as I heard that there was additional funds available, we were able to get an additional $13,000 from Seaboard. So, we now have the capability of getting two,
So it's 43 now, not
it's
29?
42, 8 or something like that.
Okay, so, okay.
Yeah, it's 42,000.
42,800.
Instead of 29, that's great. I was wondering when you said we're getting the second one, I said, how are we doing that out of 29? If
So-
they're 15 each.
So I got, Mary said I needed to get 3 proposals, so I got 3 proposals for the signboard that we wanted to.
Okay,
And then we're gonna work with Dennis and Josie to replace the outdated sign in the front
Okay.
there so that we can use that to post its key
okay,
location.
good.
And the majority of our work with the vaccine clinics and stuff was actually at that location. So I mean,
Okay.
I think it's, you know, a good use of the COVID funding so that, you know, we can continue to, you know, work with them and.
Now,
Do
what
they
do we
come
have
in other
left?
colors
You know?
besides orange?
Yeah,
Well,
that's
the-
the problem. That-
The
that
mobile one,
sign is-
unfortunately, is
You
orange,
mean
but-
the one at the senior center?
Well, even that one right
Yeah.
there, like I,
Well,
you
I
know,
think
I
that's
just
all
think
they're
if it
sold,
was
right?
like all black, maybe we can spray paint it.
I'll ask them if there's one that's
It would
possible.
look
today.
better.
Well, if
in
not,
town,
what we
you
can
know?
do is, I think they're made because when they're near the roads, you don't want someone
Yeah,
crashing into it or walking into it if it's near a sidewalk, you know? But the thing is, we could probably maybe paint it black or some other color, gray. But again, I think it's for safety. That's the reason why they're doing it.
Probably.
But that, you know, being mobile, we place it where needed, if we need on the south end or north end, or, you know, God forsake, we have to use our mobile vaccination site thing that we did up at the school. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
that would be good for that too.
So, I mean, it's key to have it that way.
Oil, water, or anything. under the
Yeah,
sun.
right. And you know, like I said, sometimes we
Earth
use,
Day,
you know, we do a lot of reverse 911. Sometimes we can use that if it's easier. Or instead of posting, like I know sometimes people miss it, you know, as you're coming by the Dunkin' Donuts, that's where we post a lot of things like Earth Day, Hazardous Waste Day, you know, plus we do 911s and stuff, but I'm saying, well, if we have that sign, why don't we put that out where it's gonna be? You know. It's
So
gonna be
what would that give us, 3?
It's a great idea. Excuse me?
It would give us 3 in the town?
Three or
the DPW has 2, police department has 1,
One,
and
yes.
then we have this as the 4th one.
I think that's good. I think covers
Yes,
every end of.
And
Yeah,
they-
Town.
we could cover the town very well with that.
Correct.
Yeah, the funds have to be expended by June 30th, so we have
Correct.
3 quotes for that, and we've got quotes for the sign in front of the senior
There
center.
is-
So how much fun does that eat up at that point?
This is,
42, we'll probably supplement it with some additional
Okay, good,
funds
okay.
from the senior
Because I was
center,
thinking,
because
yeah,
that
yeah,
one's
yeah.
a little bit more
That's fine.
expensive. They've had a lot of problems with theirs, but a lot of the things that we do at the senior center are flu clinics, the visiting nurses here
Right.
today.
Theirs
things
is old,
like
right?
that,
Correct.
where
Yeah, it's pretty old, so.
It's just junk. It was a cheapie. They did it in-house. It was like $7,000, and we've had nothing with trouble
Okay.
since
if
it
you
was
guys
put
take a
in.
vote and sign this one, I can.
Yes, okay.
Was there
They have it
something
inside.
that I saw
Okay,
come through too from Mary?
I had to-
That we
I had to
could
get-
use it for furniture for?
Oh, no, that was, we were
Is that a
checking
joke?
to see with Don what we could get,
Yeah,
Oh,
and basically, it has to be something to do with COVID.
COVID, yeah, yeah.
Don told me that the signs were good, and when she said she had additional funding, I got together with Dennis
Right,
and Josie.
yeah.
So I know Josie's been trying to replace that sign for a while. I mean, one of my other goals, and I was talking to Dennis, that there's other grant money out there. I wanted to look at maybe doing a nice sign where the Domino's building is for the town hall.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna keep my eyes open and see if we can find another one. I've done pretty good this year.
Okay, so that said, if we make this motion to sign that, then we get one going, or is it 2 on it too?
Well, just that one there, and then the other one, they gotta get 3 quotes for the
Okay,
sign.
fine.
So we'll have that for you next meeting.
And then, yeah, that's fine, because we have time. And then at that point, you'll know exactly what you need to fund extra for.
Yep.
So the good news is, I was not for buying chairs. I said, Mary, are you crazy? You know, I
Well,
know,
it'd be
it's not
nice
like
for
I
them
don't
to sit.
like to
I
see
thought it
this,
was
but I just.
So we would just like.
The chairs
funds
didn't
would-
seem to be
there's
COVID
probably
related.
more money.
Unless you say, after they get their vaccine, they
Send
gotta
it
sit
back,
here for
but-
15 minutes, you know, and I'm going like, that's a stretch.
I was talking to Don from the couch with COVID with a squeaky voice.
But this is something that'll have some real positive impact.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Make good use of it.
absolutely. All right, so I'd like to make a motion that we approve the bill for message board for 15.
Actually, take the tax out. He forgot we were taxing some.
Yeah.
So 4,500, 14,500.
Excellent.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay. Yes, to sign that over, but.
Yeah, if you want to sign that, then I can do that.
Okay, you can sign it.
They have one pull aside all ready to deliver, so we don't even have to wait for it. The other one will have to have committee,
Okay.
but I don't think we'll have it in possession before the.
Pass it
30th.
down. So the other thing too is we don't have smoking news here tonight. Or do we?
No, so obviously Cheryl is not here, so
Okay.
that's that same
Yeah,
conversation.
I called her on a few other things, you know, the housing and a few
It's
other
not
things.
easy to get a hold of,
She's not easy. She's not calling me back, emailing me back, or texting me back.
or you.
What avenue is it? I got her one day and she was going to
Is
a
she the
meeting.
only person that we have?
Well,
She was the one that wrote the regulation.
right.
I mean, theoretically, we could
DJ Wilson's
have the
still there.
discussion without her and just, I know the recommendation we gotten was that we have the high school come in and just let us know if they've had any issues.
Right.
But I think town council could theoretically change the regulation if it was just redacting a section.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised, like, it seems like so simple just to reach out and say yay or nay. And
Well, remember, she's MHB director. She's the MHB attorney. So she has two hats.
I know, but
Plus,
she's never not responded to us before.
yeah, maybe not.
So we just need to basically figure out if we can lift the vaping ban.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically whatever your decision is, and I mean, we can find a party to.
What we would
Revise it as
allow
needed.
it just, we would, flavors are gone from ever. But we would allow vaping of tobacco flavor only, which by the way, Rhode Island allows.
You see the
Well,
guest list of anybody
So in other
you
words-
recognize?
We're one of 3 towns that are not allowing, I believe, the tobacco flavor.
My brother takes care of an elderly woman,
Mhm.
and a guy that lives with her, she'll call him up occasionally. She's in Rhode Island.
Mhm.
What are you doing there? My boyfriend needed a package of mentholated cigarettes, so
Yeah.
she'll take a new bit of Uzak.
I think Rhode Island's gonna get rid of those too.
Yeah, they're in the agenda.
It is.
I
So
don't
that's,
understand the attraction to that.
Well, menthol, I guess, is soothing, so that's why it's cool. So the damage is going on, you
Yeah.
can't feel it.
Sure.
So can we make a motion to do it with the one strike like we've been talking about?
We can,
We can do
as I say,
that.
if you want to put it on the next agenda, I can have
Yeah, why don't we do
a
that?
conversation with town
Yeah, let's
council.
just put it on
Yeah,
next.
you could actually have town council join you if you wanted to have town council join you for the
Okay,
meeting.
yeah, we could do that.
We can make that request if you want to, if you can
For the meeting on the 21st?
put them on first thing.
Correct, yeah.
That
We
way
might as
you
well
have
use
a
them, we're
conversation
paying for
with
them.
them.
right?
Absolutely.
I have a contact there now that works specifically with tobacco. or-
Town council.
And it would,
Yes.
it would just be the,
So-
we'll allow it one violation, no
Right.
ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah.
You're done.
It's just a separate permit at that point.
Correct, yeah.
Because they're not allowed. So that one's,
Right, right.
they're banned, so they.
The flavors are all
Yeah.
banned.
Well, no, the flavors are all big.
Right.
It's a
It's
matter of.
tobacco flavor is considered a normal flavor because it's tobacco. So that one is allowed in most towns.
What about the CBD?
Well, that's the other thing.
It's technically outside of the jurisdiction. It's a really weird gray area. So because it's a combustible, it falls under the tobacco regulation still. So they can't have flavored CBD, but they can have,
Straight CBD.
they can have the regular product.
Okay.
But
For
it
whatever,
doesn't have the THC.
no, as long as it's
It's
less
gotta
than
be
the
CBD has to be
0.03%.
Less than
That's
0.03.
0.03, 0.04, something.
0.03. Yeah, 0.03.
So for whatever reason, it's just a gap in the regulations where, it kind of extends further than it
Right.
should.
So it'd be just like we had with the Garrett's, right? They said they sell to somebody underage.
Yeah,
One,
same
two,
thing.
three.
And Dennis, just to bring up data, when the first CBD started coming in, people were going crazy, including the board. And we're saying like, it's gotta be a way of regulating it. So it was either Cheryl or somebody else, Sarah maybe, said, listen, there's 7 requirements that they have to meet in the state of Massachusetts to be able to sell CBD. One of the critical ones was, has to be grown in Massachusetts and processed in Massachusetts from hemp. I believe that's the one, of the 6 others they can meet, the one they can't is that one. So we could have just said, it's going, but nobody wanted to be the first one to do it. So we let it go.
so we have to make sure that we do put that in there though.
Yeah.
That they have, actually, it's already state, right? USA has to
Yeah.
be products in the USA.
Yes.
Okay.
So, we didn't want to be first because, certain people
For-
don't like
for
to be
tobacco.
first and things,
For vaping,
Vaping in general, yes.
General.
So any of the vape products have
Yeah.
quality standards and
Right,
peer
right.
documentation.
That was the other
It
thing, too.
wasn't
Some were
before.
produced in China.
Yeah, that's.
and that's
Yeah.
why we were.
Heavy
like,
metals and other stuff. Nasty
Well,
stuff.
that's what got that other place in trouble.
Correct.
Was
Yeah.
Right,
they weren't doing the right thing.
No,
correct, yeah. Okay, so you will have that ready for us for next meeting and we'll have town
I'm
council.
not speaking to it.
While you're on tobacco,
Yeah.
Robbie and I were whispering back and forth about the third offense, and you had said you got direction from the DPH, which is
DPH.
contrary to what the regulation appears to say.
Yes, so the way that the regulation is written, technically for the fine value is set and cannot be adjusted, but in the state regulation, it says, I think is it no less than 7, but no more than 30 days for the suspension?
What it says is, in the case of a third violation within a period of 36 months from the first violation or additional violations during that time period, the fine of $5,000 shall be imposed, so that's clear.
Yeah, shall.
And a prohibition on the sale of tobacco products may be imposed for at least 7 consecutive business days and up to 30 consecutive business days, or for a longer term as enacted, adopted, or promulgated in a rule, regulation, or other measures by the appropriate and legally designated health authority of a city, town, or other legally constituted unit. The only, I mean,
So
I'm
we
not a
adopt-
fan of tobacco. I don't
Right,
smoke.
I understand.
But I just think 30 days just sounds extremely
Well, I mean,
harsh.
you can't even get into that place in the morning. I mean, that place is.
Yeah.
The other thing, Dennis, is
Yeah.
But it's
Through the
always
years, we've
been
been-
30.
we had thirds and we had a lot of thirds. I can say AJ's, it was like several other places. They brought in Liam, they brought in their attorney.
Yeah.
Once, one attorney offers us a bribe. I said, really, dude?
Yeah, but they,
Anyway, we never wavered. We said no.
It's always been 7, 14, and 30.
And the problem is
well,
now
they
if we
did
do this,
offer to,
in 99, we
to
waived, we
do
took
an
30 to
education.
14.
you know, if we could do
They
it.
all do that.
They all did, okay.
So you do 7 for the first
For the
offense?
first,
So
14.
that's what you've been
14
doing,
and then
14
30.
and then 30, that's what you've been.
It's 7, 14, and then 30.
Okay,
We have
the
3
third.
steps.
And if you go 4, it's indefinite. I don't know what the board would do. We haven't had that
We don't have a suspension on the first.
yet. Okay, we don't.
It's just a fine on the
It's just
first.
a fine.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And then on the second,
It's 14, right?
14.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was 7, 14, and 30.
I think it's just, I think it goes from 7 to 30.
Oh, 7.
Yeah.
They,
I thought
That
we
was
had
changed because
14.
we used to have it
I
7,
have to look
14, and
back at
30.
that.
So when the state changed things, now we go from 7 on the second, none on the first, to 30. So that's actually a break for the first 2 times. You're getting less suspension. You're getting 0 in the beginning.
Yeah.
7 out of 14. So already you made up 2 weeks right there.
Mhm.
And now you're going to 30 because we're saying, dude, you gotta get it 3 strikes, you're out.
The vaping is gonna just be one and done.
One and done.
Yeah,
Correct,
because it's-
yeah.
There's
They're
no more-
asking us to
Right.
change it.
Yeah,
Like,
we're taking it under advisement.
And they actually suggested that.
Correct.
Yeah,
One and done.
yeah, one and done.
Well, you know, people are thinking, it won't happen to
Like,
me.
thank
If
you.
you
Okay,
really
we
do a good
won't.
operation, it shouldn't happen, you know? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, if
I mentioned
that's-
AJ's.
If that's what you promulgated.
Doing all
Yeah.
the time.
I mean,
The thing is, it's just card everybody.
Yeah,
correct.
We
Right,
can't
right.
stress that
Yeah.
enough. I mean,
Can't we make
you know,
every
you go
store
for
have one of those
alcohol,
card readers?
We
No.
do,
gives you a
but-
hard time. You
We
know,
require
certain
the
places.
readers now with alcohol. When we license anybody with alcohol, that's not to say everybody's got it, but now when you come for a liquor license, if it's a transfer, we require the readers. And it sounds like
Yeah.
you do the
But
same
here's the
We
thing.
do
thing.
the same.
we
thing,
also said when we required the reader a year ago, after the COVID big time thing. That we wanted it not to be able to be, because there were cases he would go in and someone.
Somebody was running their own
yeah.
card
Just-
group.
Yeah,
they
they
just
run their own
override
card.
it.
To enable a friend to.
Correct. So what we're saying is we gotta make sure that it cannot be like, how do I say it? If you read the real ID,
Redundant, yeah.
it's
If
running
somebody
the
runs
whole
card,
thing.
you talk to her
Face.
next,
boom, that. So you shouldn't be able to use your own. And some of the card readers are sophisticated. If you use yours more than twice in a
Yeah.
day, it kicks the card out and reports it. So,
I know the systems really don't work that
So-
great.
and then people
Every
now are
system's
doing.
different.
Oh,
And I
there's
thought we
better
made the
ones?
reg saying,
There's, yeah,
you gotta make sure it
Just like
cannot
everything.
be altered by the clerk. Because it's a friend or because they're dumb. you know?
Nothing's foolproof.
Right, but what happens is, here's a case where they have the card reader and the guy altered the date. In this case, he didn't use a card, he just altered the date on it, right?
So because it was a friend,
no, so it was just, for
Just
whatever reason,
like-
they,
and it was,
This guy.
what was it a sing type thing?
yes,
Yeah.
so it was one of the minors that I
Yeah,
sent in, but for whatever reason, it just. I was gonna say, I
The
don't know,
guy
if it's
liked
on the
his
meeting,
face.
but
Yeah.
the woman had asked if he had ID, he said, I don't, but I have a debit card and, for the purchase, and she said, okay, and just put it through.
With the debit card.
With the debit card,
Yeah.
so,
So the thing too is, as they said, they have a system where they send in their agents from Rapid Refill, let's say, or Garrett, whatever that company is. And they do their things. So I was gonna ask him, how many times did this clerk get caught? And I believe he said once at least.
it's a one and done.
No, so I'm saying is, if they get caught once and then we go in, and they
He
get-
he did say 2 strikes, they're out.
okay, fine. So this was the
They give
second
them a red
strike.
card, and if they
But
have
the
2 red
point
cards,
is, that would have been something if I'm training someone
Yeah.
and he gets caught, or she gets caught, they say like, hey, I need to have you go back to retrain.
Yeah,
It's like,
I believe that there's a little bit of a difference. So when they use the bars system, if they are caught by bars twice,
oh my boss, twice.
so anytime that is a city or state violation, it's an instant termination. So I don't believe that that employee had a previous
Okay,
violation.
fine. I thought I
think it
had
was
one
just the
bar,
one.
and then we were the second one.
So that is, you promulgated a regulation that
Yeah.
says 7 for the.
Yeah.
7
Since we're
for the
now
second,
going
30.
from our earlier regs,
Yeah.
7, 14, 30,
Yeah.
and now we're doing 0,
30.
7, and then 30. We've already given somebody implied by our old regs,
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Can I just ask just out of, because I don't know.
Yeah.
What's holding us up from taking a vote on the vaping ban now? Because it's on the agenda, it's been on the agenda since I've been here.
I think we just need to have the high school commit because that was the only concerned party.
Yeah.
I mean, we can definitely vote to have it drafted, maybe, and to be confirmed at the next meeting, barring that the high school doesn't have any.
We could do that if you want.
I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'm just.
I know.
Listen, we
I-
have things that have been on this agenda for a long time that haven't been done. You're gonna complain about this one?
Well, that's the one that sticks out of my head because it's in my face. It's
You see what happens? Usually what happens.
because I
is
was here for the meeting and then it's like, it's on the
Instead of
agenda.
being an old business, it goes to goals. That way there can stay there forever.
No, I just, it's one of those, because I was here,
I don't
it
wanna
was
say
like
that.
my second meeting. And
Correct.
it's like, then it's been here, it's been here, it's been here, it's been here.
Yeah.
So,
Welcome.
yeah.
Welcome.
Your goals and you
Welcome
put up the
aboard.
list, by the way.
Like 30, 1 second.
Third.
Sure. 30.
Okay.
I'm not counting. but, yeah,
No, what's
I'm gonna
the-
say more than 30.
The age to buy is 20,
21.
21.
21?
Yeah.
So why would the high, I'm just, my question, why would the high school be?
Because of the trickle down effect. So
Correct.
the whole reason that they
You wanna
changed the
see,
minimum
like-
age from 18 to 21 was because it was in the high schools. So just to make sure that with the minimum age now being 21 for the duration that I've basically been out of
I
school.
mean, they're
Right.
gonna,
To
they're gonna
make
get in the hints.
And
parents are
he
gonna buy it,
wants to
their
know,
friends
the
gonna
school
buy it.
says, we're finding less. We hope that's the word. We're
Exactly.
seeing less now. When it was 18, we saw more. It's 21, we're seeing less. I hope that's the case.
Because the schools were.
And
part
then
of
we
the
say,
municipal
well, okay, what about
regulation.
vaping? Are you catching kids vaping, right? Is that what you're?
I mean, that has to be on par with.
Well, I think
Right.
the next meeting will have this
We'll have,
all
yeah,
squared
it'll be
away.
Yeah.
And that is to ban vaping products.
No, no,
To remove the
to
ban.
remove the ban
remove
on
the ban.
tobacco, vaping.
But it's gonna be a one and
One
done.
and done, yeah, yeah. We're only 1 of 3 towns. Can't,
So one and done, meaning if they sell it to a minor.
If Robbie catches that.
yeah.
So
they're
if
done.
they sell to a
They
minor,
never
if they
sell it.
violate the vaping specific portions of the state regs.
So right now, it's Blackstone, Bellingham, and Canton.
It's only 3 towns in the whole
And
county
doesn't-
that have a ban.
That ban tobacco.
Then whatever we do, Blackstone's gonna follow suit. I'm in touch with the Ryans and.
Well, actually, when Blackstone did it, it was because we had Mike Catalano, who was like, he said, hey, I think the Board of Health should do this. They did. it. Yeah, whatever.
Good. So Pet Food's been on that too since I've been here.
All right.
Is she in Blackstone?
What?
What town is she in?
Who? I said pet food establishment.
Oh, the pet food.
Pet.
Actually, if you look in your pile, there's.
Yeah, we got
there's,
something,
something
finally,
inside.
we got it. Finally, okay.
We're getting things done.
That's under
slowly
goal, that's
but
under
surely.
goals.
No, it's
No,
it's
no.
under regulation now.
On the regular.
We worried about that. This well thing has been on here for 3 months.
Right, right.
We got that covered though.
Which one is that?
The
The well
well,
on
Well,
Silver Lake.
3 months.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
got that taken care of today though.
I
Yeah,
know,
thank you,
but-
Dennis.
But, yeah, whatever.
Anyway.
At least you don't have to. worry about
And
something falling in.
I like what Dennis said. Was it your
He
grandson been
said,
up
yeah,
there
because my
playing?
grandson
He's
found
right in
it.
the
I'm like,
backyard.
yeah.
It is something, I know Bruce has been out there to talk to them. I know DPW had been out there to talk to them, Concom had. But I think we just need to go
Yeah,
and
just do
tell
it.
them we're
Do
just
it.
gonna, he's got a wooden structure on there. He's got no use for it. It's just.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, when we found out about it, Bruce and I had just come from a training where this lady does training, her husband's McIntyre septic system.
Yeah.
Train. She said, I'm a former nurse. She says, I'm old. She says, and for years, and then she read the entire list of people who died in the country, and then
They're falling into
it was thousands, it was like 50,000 kids dead.
From falling in
Yeah.
the septic tank.
And I'm going like, she says, no, she doesn't want even the green covers anymore, because guys put 3 screws
They
instead of
don't,
8,
they don't put,
or they don't put any screws.
yeah.
So when I put the green things, I put them 6 inches below. I tell people, it's just like a septic cover. You drive over it, you fall in.
Yeah.
But you don't see it, so you
Yeah.
can't, And you know, the age old comment is, well, if you put it below the ground, you're defeating the purpose. I said, no, I put plastic over it, so you still can get your screw gun to get the bolts out. I said, and if you don't, you go to Home Depot, buy another set of 8. When you go out there and do your inspection, you go like, okay, I got them out, you redo them. But you know what I'm saying is, she doesn't even want those. Now, the manufacturer of those tunnels, if you want to call it, produces a, they have like a, you know, like a
Yeah, they got
finger
it.
thing.
Yeah.
To fall in, this thing comes and grabs you. And the best you could do is get your feet in the water, whether you're small or big. So it's a pretty cool thing, but you know, how many installers are gonna go put that in? And how many inspectors are gonna say, like right now, when I do an inspection, if you're below 18 inches on the cover of the septic tank, you bring it to the surface with cement. And the other thing,
Yeah.
if you're more than 2.5 feet on the deep box, you bring it to the surface.
All right, so
Okay,
now,
So what's
Beep,
going on with
beep,
BP?
Okay, DP.
I'll stay for that one.
I was gonna say, so speaking of myself now having a contact with town council, the cease and desist letter that we have currently for our tobacco establishments doesn't actually cover this because it's only covering violations based off of the 105 CMR 665.
Okay.
So town council is actually drafting another cease and desist letter to be
Good,
sent
good.
out.
Okay.
I know that Attorney Marin is here from
She wanted
DP,
that.
so I didn't know if you had anything else to add or if you were just waiting for that update as well.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me appear again this evening. Yeah, we were just seeking to understand the cease and desist update and to confirm that our client was allowed to continue selling tobacco products during the pendency of the appeal period prior to the cease and desist notice being served. I spoke with our client and I don't believe he's received a cease and desist yet. So we just wanted to ensure we were on the same page with the town in terms of our client's ability to continue selling during the pendency of the appeal period and until the cease and desist notice is given to him.
So yes, if you do opt to appeal, then you are absolutely, your client is allowed to sell until the appeal process is finished. No, the cease and desist has not been delivered yet just because it's still being drafted, but that should be coming shortly. But again, depending on whether or not there will be an appeal, will obviously have an effect on that. So we could have a further conversation as needed, but there will be something, there is something in the works and your client should be receiving something shortly.
Understood. We appreciate the update.
No problem.
New letter.
all right, so that's that. That was easy.
Yeah. We'll change that.
Right, some pet food. If you look in your packet,
Yep.
there's a 1-sentence regulation.
Perfect.
Do we have the, do any
that
of
the
them
original?
consider the
That's
original?
probably- Yeah, that's probably. the
Yeah,
original.
they do.
You pick one.
Okay, that's fine. We can just do, you know, okay, so we'll need a motion next to do that.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the additional food reg.
It's the only food, it's a food reg.
A food regulation addition for
for retail.
prepackaged or food and water.
I second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, saying so carried.
So anybody who sells food or drink of any kind is required to file for a food.
What happened as was,
That's how it's, so, I mean,
all the other
everybody
stores
does it.
have like
except
food,
one.
water, little drink, eat, like the Home Depot, all have a food permit. But they also have to have signage saying they can only allow service dogs, not therapy. It's gotta be a real service dog. There's a code to give, like, what service does that dog provide to you? If you don't spit it out right away, or if your dog's running wild around the store, barking, it's not a service dog. We don't have
But
to
that's
say
a
like,
state law.
right, that's state
That's
law.
not us. That's-
So what happened was,
I know it's the norm now. Everybody thinks it.
so here it
They
is,
do.
water and soda at the
I'm like, you
PetSmart,
doesn't-
which they either go into the vet or they go into the foods to buy pet food. You can't have it, so we immediately told them to shut it down. They did. Then a new manager came in, or an assistant came in from another store, put everything back in. So, you know, we're ranting on Bruce saying, dude, you know, and then Bruce did some diligence. He went and called the DPH lady who said, well, Massachusetts now lets the boards decide, but we think food and soda, excuse me, water and soda are not food. And I'm going, wait a minute. If you put it in your mouth, it's food. That's the way I look at it. And I said, so we have to develop this thing
Tell them
to say that
So
you
tell them.
cannot get a food
what it's
permit, but you're
classified
required to
as.
have one. So the minute they apply for it, we'll say, it's denied. You have animals in your store of all sorts. And you can't segregate it unless you want to put a big sign. Only service animals allowed there. PetSmart will go out of
What do they
business.
call
if
it?
you do
Ready?
that.
We've had dogs
Or
pee,
cheese or not.
This
People have seen
regulation
dogs
added
pee
to our
on
food reg.
candy bars.
Right, is just to get
You're
rid
gonna
of
get a candy bar,
one situation.
Yeah.
reach up high.
Yeah.
Don't go for the low ones.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Forget the time. My son was little and we had him in like the little fire truck garage. And we look over
They
and
pee and poop.
the woman goes, "You're gonna pay for
People
that?"
don't
And he
pick it
reached
up.
over and had a thing of Rolos. And he's chewing on the whole thing of Rolos from the bottom shelf. He just
The
reached.
dog?
No, my
Oh,
son.
your son. Don't let him eat that.
My son's 18. He's the size of Robbie. He's 18 years old. But when he was we had him in a little fire truck at Shaw's. And he's like, "Are you gonna pay for that?" And pay for what? And you look over and there's Joe. He's got the whole thing of Rolo and he's just chewing on the
I
Rolo.
guess you're paying for that. What happened was sometimes on the lower side of things.
She said, no, he's gonna pay.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, take that as a. So what happens is, a lot of the stores have racks right on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like the Home Depot has birds in there, they have little rodents, you know. So occasionally you'll pick up a package in there and it's all chewed. Or we're looking for expiration dates, it's all expired. I'm going like, dude, get rid of all this. And then I make them go check every register, you know? I mean, I shouldn't have to do that, but you know, people like don't rotate. And they don't think of like, we don't have animals, and here you do.
Yeah.
By the way, it's pretty interesting to get bird droppings while you're at Home Depot from the ceiling.
Phil, it's good luck if a bird drops on you.
Yeah,
It's
well,
good bird dropping.
I don't know.
Um,
Do I get a
so-
discount?
Be careful.
Okay,
Don't
thanks,
forget.
man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
And we will definitely.
Well, it's
follow
good
up
to
on
see you.
those
Should come
couple of
see us
things.
more
Yeah,
often.
I do tune in, but I need to come in once in a while.
That's fine. Okay, it's
Have a
nice
good
having you.
Thanks. Is that it? Are we done?
No,
Okay,
we have health agent
well, we have
update,
fuel too, right?
So
which is under, isn't that fuel?
I've
Is
been
that
working
under health
closely
agent
with,
updates?
with
No,
Chris and
it's
I
under
bounced it
gold.
off of, Vinnie
Oh.
earlier. We're looking at
Right.
trying to do a regulation that would require all outdoor tanks to be replaced with double wall tanks, so we start to get away from.
Yeah, well, so we've been wanting to do that, but we have to try to help them financially.
Right.
So that's what we're trying to see
No,
if we can get
I know
funding.
Laura did spend time, and I don't know if she had something that she
So what
submitted,
is this that's in here?
looking to try to
Housing
figure out a way to get it
Rehabilitation
funded.
Program Summary?
Yeah.
Is that what she,
Well, are you still there? Or do you want to chime in on that?
Yep, can you hear me?
Hold on.
Bailey,
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, with our community rehabilitation program, I looked into that. And the director, I think her name is Paula there, sent an email and thought that maybe we could work something out with removing the storage, the oil tanks.
okay,
It's a grant depending on what your income is.
okay.
and so that, does that fall underneath that grant? Or she's saying that they could probably work something out?
She's saying that it's they could probably work something out, but I think it would be a good program to do that under.
Would we start with the above ground only outside first or
Yeah.
do anything else? I mean, I thought we were worried about the outside.
Yeah, outside
Outside
tanks
ones, okay.
require all.
And in ground, there should never be any more or less because federal law stopped that years ago.
I mean.
Oh,
the
I
double
meant
wall tanks-
outside, not in ground. I'm sorry,
Okay,
my
Okay,
mistake.
okay, outside tanks,
But
okay,
the outside tanks, the ones that are only in a water resource area are
Correct.
required to be the double wall.
correct,
And Chris and I were thinking we should just make blanket, all outside tanks should be double
Correct.
wall.
I got it. Now, is that 500 or 5,000 in administrative overhead? 500, right? Or is it 5,000?
I'm assuming 5,000.
It must be
I'm thinking
5,000.
it's
yeah,
missing
there's
a
comma
zero.
there, yeah, okay, so it's 5,000. Okay,
So that would fall under the failing heating, maybe, right? Because you need that,
Yeah. so the question
doesn't
is,
specify.
if
Or it
it's,
says other described.
what's the income though? Because if it's a real low thing, then
Well, the income,
hardly anybody's gonna qualify.
Well, it's
when they
down
don't-
here, so it depends, so
Okay,
73,000.
okay. Where you say that? I'll find it.
I mean,
Well,
it's just
not-
an
it would
idea.
have a-
It would have to
Yeah.
be worked out and looked at more in depth.
Correct, okay.
Yeah. It's a good path though to start.
Okay, it's good, okay.
So I guess how would we get this out to people though,
Yeah.
to get them to even apply?
would you do like a mass mailing to certain neighborhoods?
You could do a mass filing,
Do a
or
mailer. put
you
it
could
on
just
the-
say like, drive around, look for, I don't know, you can't see them in the backyard. You know,
Yeah, how would we know who has those tanks to even, let them know that can be used?
I only know
I-
two, because you can
I
see them
know-
from South
But
Main.
they're all permitted through the fire department. So let me circle back with Chris and see if there's a way.
We may
to
not
figure
even
out.
be able to find them all from all
No,
those
I
years
know,
ago,
it's
those,
just-
some
no,
of
we're
those
talking-
original,
some of
so
these
we're
are
talking
old.
like Rondo Road,
Right,
Douglas Drive, Easy Street, like that whole area, those are all old, and then Weathersfield.
Weathersfield, most of them.
I would say those, Weathersfield and that area are the two
they're all.
areas that probably
So
still
we
have
have to-
them and need
I
to.
would say target an area and just do a complete mailer for it.
Okay.
So I would mail to Weathersfield and,
Pilgrim Village, that's old too, right? 80s. Maybe not, maybe
no,
not.
they have them inside,
They have them inside, okay. fine.
yeah.
I know South Main Street is one out here, there's another one, it's right outside the side of the house.
Yeah, I see one on my way in here.
And the thing is, it's good news, is they were changed recently in the last 25 years or 20, because you see the new tubes going
Yeah,
up
I
top.
see it.
They don't do the bottom dwellers anymore. They have an inline tube where your vent is, and they draw it that way. But you have to have a special pump on your boiler. You have to have a newer boiler.
What we could do is we could start with those two areas for now, and then like next year, try to like
Yeah,
hit another area,
right.
that we think might.
And see if we
still
get
have-
anybody that takes us up on it.
Right,
Okay.
if we don't get anyone that even takes us up on it, it's like, okay, well, then. good
Well,
luck.
I'm gonna look at it and say
If
like,
the tank busts, it's an
depending what,
expensive
yeah, oh yeah,
expense.
it's gonna be way over 5,000, like
Oh,
more
Hundred
like
thousand.
20
Over
times that.
100,000.
What did Maple Street end up costing?
That was over 220,000.
Yeah.
The other one on, the
I
other
dealt
one,
with the issue myself, so I know it's a
What
nightmare.
was the other one? There was another one recently. That was 100. Actually, it was under 100.
That was the one in the guy's backyard.
Yeah,
And we didn't, Chris and I both dug, it got into the ground quick.
it did.
All right. So what's next?
So quick, Chris, his deputy fire marshal and myself were looking at, because of all of the tanks are permitted through there, what the process is gonna be, is we can come with.
I just don't, those houses are from the 50s.
Yeah.
Like, if they got those permits when they first put them in the 50s, do you think that he still has that?
Put it this
No.
way, yeah, if it's like
No.
building. they don't have
Absolutely
them.
not.
They're in
That's
the
what I'm
shed, right?
saying. From the 50s?
No, they don't have.
We don't have
it.
those permits anymore. No, absolutely not.
You think they
So
go
that's
back to
why-
at least the 60s or 70s? Some of
All I
these-
know is when you get out there, it's a mess, and it stinks. I mean, boy, I don't know how the people get the house so they can live back in it.
Yeah, I know, yeah. And one of the things I forgot about, I should know this, but one of the byproducts would be the gasoline and diesel. The dangerous byproduct, which is known to cause cancer in humans, is benzene. It's higher in gasoline, but it's still in heating oils. They have to ventilate for like days.
Well, I mean, if they don't wanna do the outside tank, they can always do propane too.
Yeah.
They can switch over and do propane.
Well, yeah,
As an
people have
option.
converted to gas when they thought it was a good thing, and all of a sudden gas went well. I know a person converted back to oil. That's it with the
I'm not
gas.
sure I want propane, I'd be afraid my house would blow up.
Yeah,
Well,
I
propane
don't
tanks
know,
are usually
but
outside,
they'd have to change their heating system and stuff too.
correct, yeah, you have to change.
It's so
You have to convert it.
volatile. It's so volatile.
Yeah,
So
less than,
So Laura?
Yep.
I would,
Yes,
I would just mail letters to Weathersfield and the Acres, cause, the older houses over there. And let them
Okay.
know, about, this program, that we might be able to help place their oil tanks.
Now, do we want to hold a public hearing, circle in Chris or the deputy fire marshal and go to any outdoor tank needs to be a double wall tank or?
Yeah, we could probably do that too. That way they're the one that's not in Weathersfield or Easy Street.
Well, that's all that they would get, right? If they replace it? Would they give
The
them, a
double wall tank is only required for the tanks that are in a watershed protection district
Right now, right?
right now. So I, Chris and I were thinking we should
Amend it to
Just
any
make-
outside
make
tank.
any outside tank. be
That's
double
fine, that
wall
works.
tank.
that's fine, but so we can put that in the letter to be replaced with a
But
double wall
that's
tank.
gonna take an action of some sort, right?
Well, the
I
issue
don't
becomes,
think so.
though, is we could just do that, that's fine, see what happens. But like Mike said, and I said, there's at least one or two, and you can see it on the side of the ranch. Those are 60s houses.
Cause
But
it's
they
not
had a
like
new
we're
system put in,
mandating them to
but they just put it
replace them
outside.
right now.
Yeah.
It's just something that we will change, right? So that's not a public hearing for that.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, Chris and I were of the mandate it. Started.
Well, you know, what I'm saying is, at this
You've
point,
got a single wall tank.
are we mandating, or we
Right.
saying, this is a program that?
Well,
should
you
look
can't
into?
really force people to replace them,
Why not?
because unless we can definitely do
Yeah,
this
no, I'm just
program.
saying.
Yeah, well,
Because you
now,
can't-
remember,
a lot
I
of
agree,
old people
I
that live
agree
down
with
there.
Trish on one aspect. Remember when Title V changed? They were forcing people to do all inspections, all cesspools failed. That didn't happen. Then the revision laws came in because everybody in the State House was about to be out of a job. And we would have old people who just said, I got you, who have no idea how to legislate doing the state of Massachusetts. I might think it would have been a good experiment. I would have liked to see that. Bunch of old people up there saying, you know what, this is what we're
It's
gonna do
mostly
from
the
now on.
older people that live.
But what I'm saying
down there
is,
that have
they would have been
tanks.
driven out of this state, every one of those elected people. If they did the 1995 no revision septic law. I tell you, there were people thinking of, would have taken them out and put them at the stake. You know,
Where is the
you know, I don't like the
plans
mandate.
and
like
the
that.
bills?
That's, you know,
Right to you.
okay, yeah, I think if we mandate, it becomes
There
like,
they are.
you know, I don't know, like. It's
But
different when you.
that is, I mean, that would be up to Chris
Correct.
to
yeah,
mandate that, but it would be our funding, so.
Correct, yeah. Well, the question is, it's probably equal authority.
I
or
guess,
health.
because it's wrong, if it gets boiled, gets in the
Yeah, that's-
groundwater, then that
I
becomes
would-
a problem.
Well, no, because.
Try to do
groundwater
that as
protection.
A joint venture there anyway,
Yeah,
just,
yeah, okay.
you know.
I think let's do what you said, let's get this out, you know, as a letter to those areas, and if nothing happens, like if nobody even contacts us, then I say, then we need to do something a little different. So letters to Weathersfield.
The acres,
And the
those are
acres.
the older
Yeah,
developments.
okay, fine, that's good.
What's,
Oh, I did that, Bruce. We had the ATS right here, so.
see, I knew I did.
We'll just re-sign it. How's that? Throw yours away.
Okay. No, I knew I had done one, but I was looking like how I thought I saved
I
that.
think, well, did we made a motion. I think we did.
Yeah, we already made a motion.
So just sign.
I was losing my mind there.
And Laura, one other thing,
Oh.
Mike noticed that some of the letterhead still has Kelly, but his name's on the bottom. You know, so can we get him replaced? I mean, her replaced with
I need a
Mike?
new letterhead, yeah.
You had to notice that. I said, oh yeah, that's not you.
It's official legal document. I think
Right,
it's-
I know. So,
Yeah, I can fix that.
good, thank you.
She got a whole drawer full of letterheads. We gotta have to recycle somehow.
Right,
So
right,
we
right.
should probably, this is like a real piece of paper. Not like a copy, so I resigned it.
Oh, okay, got it, perfect.
I don't know, we don't have to sign that one, that's just part of that.
Right, we should do that one, Marie.
Then
Okay, got it.
send that to Mike after, I don't know what this is.
You get to see it again.
That's fine by me.
Well, leave the paperclip, you won't see it.
Letterhead.
Like, look how tiny this is, can you see it?
It's not, I agree.
I'm like,
On my glasses.
I
I
might,
remember, you know, the
That's
other
good.
people,
definitely can
and when
see
the
better.
board switched, a lot of times I was the only consistent person.
Is that your bill,
I
Robbie?
think it's alphabetical.
The,
No, is this yours?
No, we had one person.
Right, what is this? Where
I
is
think
yours?
So four, I think it was a C.
Or you just-
So it was,
The regular payroll.
So whatever,
Oh,
it was a C
Yeah,
or a
it's
D.
terrible.
So she was always first.
So what is the, oh.
And it has nothing to do with.
Good, talk to Mary
It
about
just
that.
has to do with the alphabet. So I said, wow, that's great.
I have to use my glasses and the magnifying glass.
Okay.
You get those things that you put on your glasses for a little.
I have some of those.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, the jewelers use that.
Yeah, those-
Gemstone, a little bit.
All I can think of is Toy Story 2.
Bruce, why does it have your name at the bottom? Is it something you have to sign?
I've been signing payroll. The only thing is Laura, when we have a meeting week, she does let you guys sign.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay,
it says it has your name on it.
okay.
Just talk to me,
Just
I'll
with
sign it, you know, I mean, whenever there's a meeting, we just have you.
Okay, so, okay, whatever, I'll just sign. Yeah, so. I'll sign right below where agent is. So we can-
Yeah, if you sign, I'll sign,
That's fine.
that'll be two signatures. They usually payroll, usually.
Yeah,
send
yeah.
the time they do it.
Laura?
It'll be in here, right? So-
So are we able to use our clothing fund to pay for our sweatshirts?
I don't think so.
Because we did before, when we got our
Okay.
jacket.
I
Yeah.
will I'll look into it then
Yeah,
tomorrow.
because y'all should have said something to us, or, because I was the last one, I was late. And I said, I don't want it, I got a jacket. And she said, well, you know, you get a shirt like the office. I said, fine. But, you know, not telling someone we're paying for it, I'm gonna say, you can eat my shirt now because.
All right. I wasn't aware of that. That might be my error, but I'll look into it tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
That's okay, so we'll just leave this and wait
Yeah.
until you get that, because I
Correct.
know we've done that before when we ordered our jackets. It came out of a clothing fund,
And by the way,
and then I
we-
think Tim said something like we could use revolving funds or something.
Yeah,
too.
Oh, sure.
In the winter.
So,
This stuff here.
it's not like it's a lot of money, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I'll tell you, being, I'll tell you.
Huh?
Yeah,
It's in the middle of winter.
Yeah, it is.
4 hours.
Do you
Fire
want
department
something?
guys here, I'll get the big jacket.
You earned it.
Board of Health, I was trying to talk to.
He wants one that says.
My teeth were chattering.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's
Bruce
10%
looked at it from the first.
Yeah,
No
They
kidding, right?
didn't have anything my size.
okay.
What's that?
I was
Two
hoping
X's, two
Walter's
X's.
jackets down there. Walter was a tall dude, but he was big.
Oh, yeah, no, that's Slim Pickens downstairs.
Okay, so somebody else got it.
All right.
Well, you ordered one anyway, right?
Yeah.
I ordered a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, fine.
All right, so
What
what
do you want,
else?
the safety?
You wanna do the
jacket?
VNA? thing?
What's that?
You want the-
Oh,
the
that's-
safety and
where did
jacket?
that?
No, did we?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
already made
didn't
notes.
sign, that's
No, we didn't
official.
sign it.
That
Oh,
way
this
we
is
don't direct traffic.
Yes. Am I signed or everybody?
Yeah,
signed?
my wife will send me.
Oh,
out.
It just says chairperson.
I had to stop
Just
in
you.
direct traffic
I don't think it's.
2 days ago. Someone.
No, we
driving
just,
down
we made a motion on
Okay,
it.
Okay, good.
26,
Okay, so I'll sign it.
Pickup truck full of stuff.
We already did.
Sign that.
Okay.
The whole back, the gate fell down and everything fell out in the middle of 126.
Well, I'm not wearing a heavy winter coat in June, so.
No, I was gonna say, but for winter or for.
Yeah.
Fall.
We'll discuss that on the time.
Right, we can do that again.
Train
we can do
goes
is
down and
June
jumped
30th
out,
is the end
stopped
of the
traffic.
year. July 1st, we can approach it for September. Shouldn't be too cold until.
Budget of my full-time job goes up. on
Where's
July
his
1st.
bills?
Good, so you'll love it.
Do you see his bills in anywhere?
Yeah, they're in there. Oh, right there.
No,
Amazon.
this is Amazon.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
What do you want?
Robbie's bills.
Oh, Robbie's bills, I didn't see it.
I didn't see
Bruce added those to the agenda, but I never did receive them from Rob, if you're on.
Yeah, I'm here. They should have been sent out on Friday, but if you didn't get them, I can resend them.
Resend them, yeah.
I was gonna say, they're in my phone, I can send them now.
Could we, Laura, if we knew the amounts, could we approve it now
Yeah,
and
the
then just come
amounts
in and
are in
sign
the-
it?
The amount
Just
should
sign
be in
it.
the agenda.
Yeah, they are.
Okay,
Um,
let's
you
approve
wanna-
the
You
amount.
want to email it to me?
Yeah, I can email it to you.
them. Okay.
Laura, you
Let's-
can sign for me if we make the motion to approve it.
This is about the third meeting, Robbie. Been a while, right? Remember you said. last meeting?
If I can.
Yeah.
it. Motion to approve Agent Griffin's food inspection, $2,400.
All right, I second that.
All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, same, so carried.
Motion to approve Agent Griffin's tobacco compliance for $800.
All right, I second that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, so carried. Great.
So just to update you guys while we're
talking about the tobacco. So we have the fine for Rapid for 5,000.
Right.
There's an additional fine for 2,000 and a suspension that's currently pending with AJ's Mini Mart as well, because they had a
Okay.
sale.
I can print from here, when I email it to me, I'll print
Yeah.
them all together.
Yeah, I could do that in just a second.
AJ doing pretty good for.
They
Yeah,
were.
they were. They are currently disputing it though, because back in 2020, when they had the prior violation for having flavored products and vapes,
Correct.
during the meeting, we had adjusted some things. So Bruce was pulling the recording from that meeting, so I can just make sure that we
Okay.
have everything.
I have it here.
Yeah, should get the truck.
Okay.
All the i's dotted and t's crossed on that.
Okay.
So,
Good.
and
What
then
offense would this be, the second?
this would be their,
Third.
the third fell off, so this would now be their second, because they had had a violation January of 19, which is now aged out.
Yeah. AJ, okay.
And then it was,
720.
I was gonna say, yeah, 720
720.
was 2020, but there was also a additional violation that happened in like October of 19.
But
But I think that
We
one
squashed one
was
of them.
squashed because it was
right,
a weird
I remember that
violation.
happening.
Yeah, okay. fine.
So, but it was when Maryland was still the agent. So it
Right,
was,
so we'll call this technically, once you get it squared away, it'll be a second.
Right.
So that'll be,
I think that's what it is, a second.
what's going on with Best Buds? So at this point, they're actually serving a state suspension, so they may not be our problem.
oh, great. You
They
did
had,
mention it. last
yeah, they had some well, I don't know if I can say this, but they had some untaxed cigars that were found when we had our joint investigation,
time. Okay.
and they're gonna be serving a 3-month suspension for that, but there's some other things going on as
So
well.
that
So-
kind of push them
Coming out
off.
of somebody's background.
What's that?
So a lot of product that's coming out of somebody's.
Okay.
background.
Yeah,
Under the registered.
I know about the one, so. Yeah,
So the question there is, the 3
Probably
months
they
will
haven't
kind
had
of
it.
put them out of business for a while.
for a little bit, so they're
Now, you do
technically,
have 2 stores or just one?
it's just the one that's open.
The
They
one
have 2
that's open.
permits,
That
but
one's
one
still
open
not
business.
open. Same owner. but-
Same owner.
did you see Amazon bills on there? Something
It's
that's-
on the agenda.
Oh, it's on there?
No, the Amazon one, I didn't see that.
No, no,
Sorry,
I
I just-
Well, those were, they missed the agenda, but
Okay.
they're old.
I was gonna say, these are from
Yeah, no, they're old,
April. Okay, I know.
yeah.
Yeah, Mary from Finance asked if you guys could approve them only because our fiscal year is ending and we need to get them in as soon as possible. So if you can make a motion and put the total amount, I guess that will work for now. She said if you could do it.
Okay. We'll just do, yeah, there's one for each one. So I'd like to make a motion that we pay an Amazon bill of $12.99.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, abstained, so carried.
I'd like to make a motion that we pay an Amazon bill of $41.38.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, abstained, so carried.
I'd like to make a motion, this is from Earth Day, that we pay an Amazon bill for $7.99.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, abstained, so carried. Guess we skipped.
Yeah, well, no, they weren't on there.
They were-
No. I'd like to make a motion that we pay an Amazon bill for $10.88.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, abstained, so carried.
Last one, I'd like to make a motion that we pay Amazon bill for $13.98.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay. What I'm saying, April, we had 2 meetings before this, 3 maybe, right?
Yeah, these are.
They got real.
We have one plan for review for an upgrade waiver for 88 Indian Run. It's allow septic to be installed 5 feet from the foundation where 10 feet is required. Motion to approve.
All right, I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried.
Yeah, if you look at the plan, it's like real,
Where's
real
that
tight.
one? Bruce, is that down to diff, 80?
It's.
88.
88.
Yeah, 88. Yeah,
That sounds
it's really
familiar.
tight.
Yeah.
So,
And then looking at our updates and our minutes. So how did you make out with the schools, Bruce?
I go on the 13th.
Okay, so you decided to wait.
Yeah, so I want to do with Liz Bell and go through everything and then work out a schedule for next year so that she can make sure that.
Next year, though, she has to be there early.
Yeah, make sure that,
The problem is that we don't need to inspect when Melissa's there. She's not there. Like, she's not there all year. So why do we wait for her? Like, don't we want to talk to the people
All right,
that
so
are
what-
actually
what
running
I
the
what I can do
cafeteria?
is have her designate you find out from her who the designated person that we need to work.
Yeah,
with.
because in the past, we've never waited for Liz. Liz,
Well,
I
she's
think
on-
she might come once a year.
Then either Rob or I have done with her, so I mean, but
She only recently left. You just are.
she left a while ago.
I was gonna say, I think she left. in
Because when Mike
20
Catalano was here, she had left.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
Sure.
like a 2020 situation.
Mm-mm.
No,
I think she might have been going back and forth actually for a while.
yeah, so that's typically what you.
When she was, and then she settled in over there. But going forward, I mean, we can't wait for her to come. We don't do that for anybody
Right.
else, so it doesn't make any
you
sense.
sign that and then it's all set.
You send it to my G,
Should have,
sounds like,
I was gonna say, you should have it in your email, and I texted it too, because I wasn't sure which one would come through quicker.
I can go upstairs and get it. But then this is some, the Wi-Fi.
To say worst case, so we're not holding you up, we can always just circulate it.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, when I do that,
You can make a motion and then can come by and.
Can you,
We did, right?
email it to each of them and then I'll.
Yeah.
No, we didn't make the motion on his bills.
Oh, okay.
You did.
No, we made the
I
motion
did?
on his
Yeah,
bill.
we did.
Oh, did you?
I did.
What I'm saying is,
Oh, okay,
now it just needs two of us to come in and sign it.
sorry, yeah.
So we don't need to worry about it. So we're all set on that. So Bruce, there's all the stuff here. Yeah.
Like, I get the bill, we have.
Okay, right. I'll get her over there too. So I guess we've satisfied the agenda, right?
Yep.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
oh, actually, there's one other thing. I think there was something else to say, like, Bruce went out, I don't know when it was, but either way, I got a call on either Friday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, from a resident at 27 Irene Court relating to, 3 goats and somewhat like 9 chickens. She couldn't count them. She said they keep running around. But I said, well, they're allowed 9 chickens. She said, yeah, but what about the goats? I said, I don't think so. There's no agricultural zone there. That, I'm not sure. We found that out. But either way, I believe if you're in suburban, you can have 2. Okay, fine. So he's got 1 extra goat. Anyway, that said, I didn't know what it was. I said, well, we'll take it up on Monday. I said, when the health agent's in, because, you know, she said, well, he's been there not that long, but he's also been clearing all the trees. And I said, well, I don't really remember whether it was wetlands back there. I said, I'll have the health agent look at it. He's an engineer, so he'll be able to say like, oh, that's a wetland. I need, you know, someone to look at it. In the event, so Bruce went out there. There was another complaint on Irene Court, ironically, but that one.
Yeah, right next one.
I was able to resolve it, so that was easy. But Bruce found out the guy's been there 3 weeks, so in 3 weeks, he's managed to piss off all of them, or at least a few near him. He has 3 goats. Now, the other thing too is, I guess we wanted to bring up is his situation.
Got
Does
past
he-
due water bill.
Okay, yeah, so there's the issue. He can't get a permit because he's got a pass through water bill. And there's another person like that has a pass through tax bill. So everybody now that needs a permit under permitized, nobody in the assessors, in the tax office will sign off. So I think, you know, I'll finish this and then I'll tell you what the other thing I think we should do. That said, so Bruce, I guess when you go back down there, I don't know yet. So, well, here's the question. The board's going to have to make this decision. He can't get a permit and pay his $50. He didn't know about the reg.
There's
The question is,
The animal bylaw is 0, 1 fee.
yeah, but I think if you're late or you don't have one,
They're not late until the,
okay, whatever, okay. Let's just say there's no fee.
I think it's June.
The bottom line.
End of June, I think.
Okay, but the bottom line was, he needs to have waste management, he needs to have the pen so many feet away from the property lines, because that's gonna come up at the next meeting. Someone's gonna call me back and say, you didn't do it.
He has all the pens in place out there.
Okay, fine.
Is
Is that where you cleared the trees? Because some
Yeah,
lady
down the
called,
back, yeah.
said, he's cleared trees down too. I said, well, well. So I guess the question becomes is, here's what we gotta resolve. If you don't have a permit, because you didn't know, but you go to get a permit and then Permitize says you can't get one because you owe taxes, whether it's water, taxes, anything. Should we just say, okay, you can't have a permit, you can't have the animals, just like the bins, you can't have a permit, you can't have the bins. And I don't know, I mean, that makes the common sense thing and the problem goes away. But I should say, should we say like you have 30 days to get your taxes paid? And if you don't have them paid in 30 days and have your permit submitted, then you're gonna remove the animals, remove the bins, you know, I think we need to set a time limit and decide what we're doing. Well, what's your feelings on that? You know?
I think we already have some time in there, don't we? That you
Well-
have to get you have to get the permit. and
Correct.
You gotta pay your taxes. or
Correct,
water
yeah, but I
to
think
get the
that was
permit.
for bins, now this is animal, livestock permit, so.
Oh, it's every time.
It should be every permit, right?
It has to,
Okay, fine,
it has to, you can't.
okay,
I've been overriding for D-box repair, somebody does a Title V.
right,
The hole's open and the D-box needs to be replaced because it was either damaged during
right,
the finding of it, or when you get there, it's deteriorated.
right.
I've been overriding for those because you can't leave them.
Correct, no, and that's an emergency situation, you know, so I'd say we'll waive on that. Plus, when you do a system that's a repair like, it's a $10 fee, we never ever charge it. We just need the certificate of compliance, and like you
It's
said,
now $50.
okay, well, we need to get it in.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so it's 50. But what I'm saying is, you need to get it in before the hole just sits there, whatever, so. Anyway. So,
But I want to say probably a third to a half of what comes in to be permitted is being held up because somebody has a past due bill. I had 12 applications.
I mean, the other way is you just do nothing, they don't have a permit, now, the neighbors are gonna lose their mind. They'll say like, well, really, if I don't pay taxes, I don't have to have a permit for anything. It's, well, you do, depends on which department. I don't wanna be like, what else? Well, we'll just waive it, because, I don't know. You comply with the reg, but you don't have a permit, because you can't pay your taxes now, that sounds kind of weird. What do you call it? That's beyond grandfathering, that's being like, well, we'll make the law as we go along. You got a different one, you got one, you got one. Oh, really? Can't do that.
That whole program was clunky to begin with.
I know. I haven't put my building permit in yet because everything's out of sight. I said, hell with this. Plus I haven't sold the land, so okay. Right at this point, whatever.
All right. we done?
So the question is, what should we do with these things? The other thing too is,
We'll have to put it on the agenda.
okay, well,
'cause
you can-
it's not on there right now.
yeah, the thing is, but Irene Court was after the agenda was set, it couldn't be on there. So Laura said, put it under good and farewell, whatever. Good.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I did that. But another thing that's coming up now is the Freddie DePrado thing. He's willing to go to court. I said, well, you know
Go to
what?
court.
That's what I said.
Rules are
That's
rules.
just because we gave him ample opportunity in April. And we thought it was May 1, then it
It's
became May
lies
31.
after lies. I'm gonna get rid of it. Oh, I'm gonna get,
And now
so
he says,
this-
well, I don't believe that, I don't believe I'm not grandfathered. We had already said when Kelly was on the board in March, there'll be no grandfathering for undersized lot or unattended.
And he's already had trash. That's
And he
been
has
sitting
had trash.
there, so no.
And the only thing that we can say for Larry's, they have exactly the minimum requirement. So, and that was the only one we said.
It'll cost him a lot more money to go to court
It
than
will,
it would
yeah.
for the bins.
And we've
That's the
been to
money we'll
court.
get for the bins.
Right, okay. Okay, so that's it. So there's Bruce, I guess you can go out and on 27, I can go out, tell him, you know, maybe Laura, can you make sure you get a letter that Bruce can take out or send it to these people? They have 30 days to get a permit. And they have to pay their taxes, obviously, within that 30-day period, so they can get a permit.
Was it taxes, was it a water bill, or, I mean, there were two permits, one was taxes and water, and one was water?
Yeah, that's correct. And I can send a letter out, yes.
Okay. And then we can take it up when we get the response to the letter. I mean, you probably should do it, unless Bruce is hand delivering, do a return receipt.
Yeah, do him, I prefer the letter.
Okay, Bruce
Maybe
prefers the
somebody said
letter.
wolves on 27, I get out there and the guy's belligerent, irate,
Yeah, but you calm him down, right, without getting, anyway,
everyone has it,
okay, well, anyway,
That's
so the
part of the
bottom
job,
line,
actually.
yeah, do the return receipt letter to them, and we'll get the response way before our next meeting. And then
and I'm flat
you
jack.
probably should say it's 30 days from when you send it out. That way there, we're not gonna wait 30 days from the next meeting. So if you send it out, I would say Tuesday, if you send it out on Wednesday or Thursday, it's 30 days from there to
Okay.
get the permit. Obviously, he has less than that to respond, right? I guess he should respond.
Robbie wants it, that's too.
Okay, yeah,
Robbie definitely has more conflict than you do,
yeah.
no doubt.
So wait a minute, no, there's a new bill before the, oh no, it's New York. You can't have a, we call it an armor vest if you're a civilian. Why not?
We
If you're
carry
going to
back here,
Boston,
civilians.
no, what I'm saying, but if you're going to Boston or other places, I can't see why you shouldn't have one. If you figure like, well, at least it could stop a knife or a bullet, from here to here, doesn't cover, below.
No,
Anyway, okay,
taking a motion to
We'll go.
adjourn,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
part's over.
We're done. Okay.
9:15.